Copenhagen, even if their results were considerably subpar for their own expectations, which means what we're looking at now is a case of who can integrate their new guy as fast as possible. They're both rookies. Both of these guys, both teams have very, very similar storylines going into it. We'll talk about DarkZero just to start. Rice is the new blood. Everybody on DZ thus far looks like they're running like a relatively well-oiled machine. Nothing else. Or Element 1 teams. Your actual first true test.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams finished second and I think third, respectively, in the NAL, right? Both of them went to Copenhagen, kind of had mid-performances there and were booted out earlier than what we wanted as North American fans. But still, I liked the way that these two teams have played throughout the tournament so far. I think that they're both going to have an awesome shot at taking each other down. I think that not one team is better than the other, and I mean, both of the rookies for these rosters have stepped up in massive ways. So you can tell that yes, they're rookies. Yes, they're newer with these rosters, but they're still doing the job they were brought in to do.
Lax, it was an infinite overtime game for DarkZero against ATK yesterday. Yeah. What were your impressions of the new guy, Rice, finally jumping on the squad and how he performed in such a long game?
I mean, it's good to see the composure that a player like that, brand new, playing with a roster as he's on. It's good to see, you know, especially for the guys that he's playing with, to see, like, you know, we did make a right decision in who we're picking up, that he does have the mental capacity and the fortitude to continue on through those grueling games. And those are grueling games. I don't know if some of you know, like, even getting to 6-6 is intense. So when you're pushing it that far, you're extremely exhausted by the end of it. And seeing Rice perform the way that he did throughout that, and then on top of it, closing out the game, I mean, that's a win in my book for DZ.
So far, DarkZero is the only team to have played in any overtime games in this entire tournament. They did it against Packer and Carnico, and they did it against ATK and Crew just yesterday. So if you want to look at it on the face of who's had the better overall tournament, you'd think that a team that's been pushed to overtime twice maybe still has some things to work through. But as far as I'm concerned, we've seen some really good things come out of this team. The rating is not terrible. Their entry kills have been spot on. And Mason, there's one dude in particular on DarkZero who's stood out probably more than anybody else, who's had consistency over time. And I mean, it's Rob. It's YouTube doing the things that we always know. He's been doing this for years at this point.
Yeah, Pamba's been nuts. His KD and entry has been insane. But we're also highlighting Gavini because he is still a newer player to this DarkZero roster. I mean, he only joined them after SI, I believe, maybe. I can't remember exactly when he joined. But,
just before. He was with them in Canada.
It was right, yeah. It was right before SI. So, I mean, he's been with the roster for a little bit, but, I mean, the performance, the numbers he's dropping, incredible. A 1.25 rating, pretty damn good KD throughout the event. His cost isn't good. His entries are great. I mean, overall, Gavini has just been a standout player. We even had a round yesterday that we picked, and we were like, we just want to see what it is, a round in the life of Gavini. And we ended up seeing a nice little 2K and some good help with drones, information. So he is a great role player on this DC team, but he's also one of those important fraggers and really helps them go through.
Come back in here. There's now a SpaceStation comparison we need to do a double check on, mostly because I think so far they've proven to be the best team in this tournament. DarkZero have a lot of things that are going right, but for SpaceStation, it feels like everything has been going more right. Not just because they got a 7-0 victory against GGG at Map 2 from yesterday, but everything just on a consistency basis, incorporating a new guy, especially somebody like Ashen, who feels like he's been able to play whatever SpaceStation has required thus far. Lax, specifically about new guys, you've been able to play with a couple of them, especially on that PB roster last stage. What is it about this new crop of young talent that so many teams feel like they need to keep going back to the well to find the best ones?
I think it's just, you know, getting old blood is great and all, but getting that new blood and being able to teach a player, to show them the ropes and have them kind of create their own player within themselves is like something that a lot of teams are looking into. And even throughout my career, when we made those, I think we were one of the first teams that really initiated getting new players and really showing that new players can be just as good as the old dogs. So I think that formula has really been getting implemented throughout all of Siege, is just bringing in these younger talent to really give them a foundation to work with and build upon and grow upon. And you're seeing it consistently throughout these teams making these roster changes. And for the most part, you're seeing a lot of these players that are getting picked up to be performing really well. Obviously, we just talked about DZ with Gav, and he's been performing extremely well. And then now you're even looking at Ashen on a brand new team playing. I mean, it's a brand new team in general, all put together, but bringing him onto it, like, he's performing extremely well. He's excelling where he needs to be. And again, like, for me, that's why teams are going for the newer blood than the older blood.
Yeah, I love this SSG roster. I think that they're really strong. They're putting themselves together nicely. And I don't think they've had to be tested as much as DarkZero, at least in this tournament. I think DZ definitely got the harder side of the bracket with teams that I just felt were going to be more competitive against some of the NAL rosters here, especially with Karnako just winning in Element 1. ATK, they had shown that they can beat teams in the NAL before by beating Beast Coast, Mirage, and other teams in the past. So seeing them now facing off here against SSG, this is going to be the hardest match yet for DZ, at least in that regard. But SSG, they're doing a solid job. Their entries are pretty good, but for the most part, that's facilitated by Ashen. But yesterday, if you remember, Fultz had a really big game, and the prior day on Friday, which was their first match, he kind of wasn't doing much. I mean, he was like 3-7, 3-8. He didn't really have a standout game, but he turns around, comes back the very next day, ends up being the top performer for his team. I love to see that out of SSG. I'd love to see that out of pro teams in general. The fact that you can have a bad day, turn around, and make it really damn good is so exciting.
Yeah, I just want to touch up with what you were saying, even with Fultz not having a great day. Like, that's the whole point. And, you know, a lot of people focus on someone maybe having a bad game than what they usually are. But, like, that is the whole point of being on a 5-man roster, and a strong roster at that is, you know, you are going to have a bad game whenever that does happen. You know, you're not going to be consistent constantly. You can be as consistent as you possibly need, but when you do have those bad games, that is the point of having the 4 other teammates to pick up the slack when you need it. And SSG, all 5 of those players, even with Ashen being brand new, they can all pick up any slack where someone might not be putting the work in. So, I mean, right there, like you said, Fultz didn't have great games, but then going into that game, he performed extremely well, was at the highest of the leaderboard, and it just goes to show, you know, you can have a bad game, but again, it's the whole point of being on a 5-man roster is that the 4 other people can pick up your slack where you need it. And just because you're doing bad doesn't mean you don't have a huge impact in the game in terms of comms, in terms of just relaying information. So nothing to take away from anyone having a bad game. It's the consistencies that's the most important thing.
Biggest thing for Fultz is he's obviously now switching a little bit over to a secondary support role. Sometimes he's playing A, sometimes it's Thatcher. Sometimes, I mean, he's taking that away from Forrest in some cases. So even if he's not having the greatest game statistically, it's obviously not the worst thing in the world. Specifically on a comparison though, Mason, we did want to highlight the new guy on SSG, but then against the guy on DarkZero, who's also been having his own standout. These are easily the 2 guys we need to be watching the closest in this series.
Yeah, Pamba's been tearing it up in this tournament. I mean, a 1.4 rating. Day 1, he had a 1.5, so he's been absolutely destroying teams. Overall, just the play, the kills, he's leading the team. He looks incredible for DZ. But then you go look at the new guy, Ashen, and how hard he is carrying SSG on the entry. 10-1 in entry and opening engagements is really incredible to see, especially out of a rookie. We knew how good of a talent Ashen was in the T3 scene whenever he was just smoking teams in tournament. And it's so cool to see that that translates right up into Pro League, and that he's able to reproduce the same exact results at a higher level of play. It's really awesome to see out of Ashen.
One of the guys that got brought up immediately out of Challenger League, and he's been doing this for 2 years now, and to see Ashen already on that level with him is crazy. We do want to just clarify, because SpaceStation have been routing teams and DarkZero have had a lot longer of a time to get those wins, it might look like SpaceStation stats are a little bit inflated, but for Panda to still be putting up a 1.4 with 2 games that have gone to overtime and one of them that went the distance all the way into round 10 for them to win, that by itself is also super impressive. And Laxing, to your point, if you go to infinite overtime and you come out of that and your stats still look that good, you had a really fucking good day, man.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I think Pamba, dropped like 22 or 21, something like that? I mean, granted, you know, that's a lot of rounds, so, like, it's not unrealistic, but still, like, he put a lot of that weight on his back, grabbing those extra 10 kills compared to what everyone else was on. So, I mean, you know, hats off to Pamba, but Pamba's always been an outstanding player, so, again, it's no surprise to me. I don't think it's any surprise to anyone on the desk, but it's you know, it's for as long as he's been playing for and to still be putting up numbers like that and that consistency, that, again, consistency for me is the most important factor for any player and their skill gap. And Pamba has always been extremely consistent.
Let's talk maps, Mason, real quick. There's a couple things I'm curious about. Do we finally see a map 3 in this series, and what is it if we get there? But do we see Nighthaven Labs or Consulate brought out to start? Oregon Cafe bans at the beginning are fantastic, but does anybody actually have the balls to bring one of the new maps out in a best of 3 grand final context?
I guess we just have to wait a little bit and see. You see Consulate gets banned out by SSG, but that leaves Nighthaven open for the taking, and maybe we would see that be the case, but we'll never know. Bank is the pick for DarkZero. I love that map for them. I think that it is a map that they are successful on. They're 4-0 in the last few months on it. They look great as a team overall. Skyscraper being the pick for SSG is a very interesting one because I don't have any record of them playing it at all in recent memory or within the last few months, whether it was Copenhagen Stage 1. So this is something they're bringing out, which is really cool to see. Unfortunately, though, Labs does get knocked out, which makes me a little sad, but we move on.
Well, I mean, maybe they'll be down for a show match or something after the fact. That was one of the things, the big selling point of the breaking point was, hey, play the new maps and see how you like it. But I agree with you on the bank point. I think the Skyscraper pick into DarkZero is interesting because of, you know, their overall relationship with that map, banning it forever and then starting to play it a lot more. And then Chalet seems like the obvious decider to go to if we need it. But Lax, just thoughts about these maps for either team so far?
I mean, I think Bank is a very strong map for DZ, so no surprise to me that DZ picks Bank. SSG picking Skyscraper, I think that's honestly going to be a toss-up. I think that's a map that can go either way, whereas the first map I think might lean a little more towards DZ, but again, going to the second map, I think that's a little toss-up between the both. So it's really, in my opinion, who's going to show up better comes Skyscraper, and obviously if it goes the third map, truthfully, I think SSG is going to run away with that one.
Dude, I'm down for that Skyscraper just kind of getting thrown in the middle of things. A hand grenade right in the middle of a crowded audience. The fact that that happens and immediately you don't know what the result is going to be. Is it a good pick? Is it a risk from SpaceStation? Mason, I think it, like, well, map 2 is guaranteed to happen anyway, but what are you thinking about why SpaceStation would have gone for it?
I honestly don't know. I mean, my best guess and intuition says they just want to see what they can do against a Pro League team who has a history on Skyscraper, right? I mean, DZ, they're all right on Skyscraper. They're 1-1, so they have a little bit of experience. They know how to play the map. How is SSG going to be able to work around DZ on that map? How is DZ improved from previous qualms on that map where they were rather slow on their attacks, right? It translates all across. So we're going to two maps which take a little bit of time to attack, especially Bank. Skyscraper as well. There's just kind of longer maps that take a little bit more time to process and set yourself up. So how is DZ going to be able to find their way to attack in the first place? I think it's an important sight to see. But then also, how's SSG going to play these maps? Because there's really not much history on them for either.
I'm down for the surprises, and also I think it's great that SpaceStation decided to throw us a curveball for a grand final. Again, in a best-of-3 context, there are some maps that you know that you can get away with, and some that you might as well get a little bit swifty with if you're really feeling like you want to throw something different at your opponents. And considering the amount of time SpaceStation and DarkZero have faced each other over the past couple of years, that's not really a surprise to me. But last thing before we jump to game, we're talking predictions, and I'm going to put the guy with considerably more pro experience on the spot in this case. Gabe?
All right, let's go, Clips. Oh.
I mean, collegiate experience, yes.
Yeah.
Gabe, who are you thinking takes this series and why?
I'm going to have to say SSG, just looking kind of at the map pool already and kind of just based off the performance as a team. Obviously, don't get me wrong, DZ is an extremely strong team, but I think it going the distance, I do think SSG closes it out, but obviously, which is obvious, if DZ takes Bank and DZ takes Skyscraper, then it's a done deal for DZ. But I do think if it goes the distance, SSG closes it out.
Jason?
I gotta agree. I think that SSG is going to close this one out. I like DZ, especially on these maps. I think Bank is going to be one that they should be able to take just fine. Skyscraper, I don't know. I think that could be the map that we see a very long overtime bout just going back and forth between the two teams because it's such a question mark with how SSG is going to play. I think they could jump out with a early lead, and then as DZ starts to make those adjustments, you get a mint timeout maybe in there, and all of a sudden it starts spinning back into DZ versus SSG bout for bout in those rounds. And then Chalet, I just think is an SSG ground that they could easily win on. So if we go to map 3, I think SSG, otherwise DarkZero are going to have to close this in 2.
We got a couple maps that are very well known to our opponents. We got a couple that are a huge question mark, and we don't know exactly how they're going to swing. I honestly wouldn't have it any other way. 3 maps between SpaceStation and DarkZero. Which one of them wins Hell in a Cell, and which one of them gets stretched to their breaking point? It'll be Harrison and Fellow with the call for the grand final.
DarkZero versus SSG. John, unfortunately, we don't get the new maps. I begged, I pleaded, I cried on my knees. But we didn't get them. We'll have to deal with Bank. We got Sky. That's cool.
That's cool.
I like
Although,
Sky.
yeah, as I say, I don't know if like we're both the biggest fans of Skyscraper. I know you like it a
Yeah,
little bit more
Sky's
than
like
me.
Sky's. I guess Sky's like okay.
Yeah, I think it's the teams that make it a fun map, and SSG and DarkZero are two very enjoyable teams. You know, showing some similarities. I think SSG are more well known to be a kind of more gunner-oriented team, but the way that they set up for their entries, both DarkZero and SpaceStation, has a lot to do with teamwork, especially on the attacking side. So going to a large map like Bank, like the Death said, of course, it's going to be a little bit more favored towards DarkZero to be the more methodical team. But it's not like SSG aren't going to be able to perform on this map, of course. So I think we're still in for a really interesting best of 3, especially if everyone is firing on all cylinders today. We can't have inconsistent showings from the new gunners of both Rice and Ashen for DZ and SSG respectively.
And although Rice isn't in a fragging role like Ashen is, he has been a little bit inconsistent. He has really stepped up when the team needs him. But for example, on Border, it went 18 rounds. He got a 1v3 to win the map and finish 16 and 11. But then on Bank, he was 0-8 at one point. So it's been really weird. It's been a weird journey for Rice so far. It's like every time we've seen him play, the first map he does great, and then the second map is like he's run out of steam. So I hope we don't see that here up against SSG, especially because of how well-rounded both of these teams are. I don't expect any. Well, I mean, I can't say I don't expect one player to like really start firing, but I don't expect the match to be decided by just one or two players. It's got to be a team effort for both these guys. And already we're seeing an odd ban from SpaceStation. So they take out Bravo. So DZ takes out Bravo. That's pretty normal. Bravo's really good on a large map like Bank. Wolves and Azami, I mean, they're 2 of the 6. Of course, they're going to go. Twitch. A Canadian played Twitch, I think, almost every single round on attack, I think, on Bank.
Yep.
Right?
She was played quite a lot.
There we go. Target man right there.
Not only that, but there was a big focus on Mira for a lot of those extensions and also site anchoring depending on where they were defending for Bank. So not having Twitch, it's going to make those Mira windows a little bit more challenging to deal with on some bomb sites. Of course, not going to see her this very moment. But for SpaceStation, when they go on the defense, that's definitely something we can bring back up when looking at their defensive half. But right now, DarkZero, their lineup is something in between of what you would expect for this site in particular. You have a lot of focus, of course, on the top floor with, your primary roamers like the Vigil and even Mozzie that Gavin's rocking currently, and a lot of info to help assist those operators with Black Eye cameras and Mozzie Pest, depending on where they're placed during the round. But you also have plenty of stall with a couple of those Vulcan packs and Toxic Waves. So it's a really nice in-between. The only problem that DarkZero might have to worry about is that Ying, if J90 can stay up, because he can either clear out the roam at a much faster rate than you would normally anticipate, or he can allow that execute to thrive if enough people are ready to actually enter the bomb site and attempt that plan.
As the desk highlighted, Fultz taking a little bit more of a passive role since the new pickups. He's on Dokkaebi, though he would... he's still known for the operator even back in the golden days of SSG. Instead, it's mainly going to be Ashen on that entry role. J90 joins him a lot, too. Hot and Cold, as always, has been playing that Sledge and Buck. Buck, an operator that I'm a bit sad about, because I feel like Ram is going to make him kind of obvious. I feel like it's going to be a big power creep. I mean, what would the only reason to bring a Sledge now would be like a bottom up take, which is already rare enough in Siege.
Just nades, honestly. That's the one thing that separates Sledge, even now for some situations. But yeah, it's going to be really weird to see how Ram affects the composition for that. And I'm hoping that Ram is also not a 3 armor, because I will just never play Vert again.
She is.
Oh.
She's a 3 armor. So, hey, maybe that's an advantage for Buck. You don't have
faster.
to be 3 armor. And, well, drone work from SSG, not happening at all. Forrest goes down. He had no idea Canadian was in stock. Fultz attempts the refrag, but Canadian's better in that fight. 2 early picks for DarkZero. They've been thriving in a lot of these entry battles, but typically it's Panba and Gavin's job. Now here's Canadian, the old man, chiming in. And SSG still have no response. It looks like they're just going to go for it, though. Figure that's their opening, and they've got to put all their eggs into this basket. Rice goes down, so they get that opening pick into the site, but Hot and Cold drops Diffuser in lockers. That leaves Ashen and J90 in the clutch. J90 gets one. That's smoke shut down, but that's all SSG are going to be able to get. A confident first round from DZ.
And I think the idea for SSG after they lost those 2 players was to maybe try to hit the bomb site, play for numbers there, assuming there would still be about 2 to 3 other defenders up above, including Canadian. So maybe that was the play, still having the Ying intact. They could throw out some Candelas, get a couple of free 1-for-1s, and maybe force a retake for DarkZero. But of course, that didn't work out as according to plan. So great start for DarkZero, punishing that lack of proper info to win 2 separate 1-on-1 gunfights on the top floor, and then force the hand of SpaceStation to kind of awkwardly work their way down Marble, which didn't end up working out at all.
I really hope that doesn't become a common theme, because if there's one thing that SSG were typically renowned for, right, between when they were world champs and even now, is their spectacular drone work. So I hope they end up fixing it. And we're going to have a tech pause. Someone on DZ is having issues. Not sure who. Maybe Canadian, because he was the only one that hadn't picked up yet. John, did you see, while we're on the topic of like RAM and the new patch, did you see the Legion buff?
I did not, Harrison.
So, right before we get into this round, ladies and gentlemen, the recharge timer is being reduced from 30 seconds to 20. Legion now gets 9 mines across the round.
Wow.
They reintroduced the initial damage, so when you step on it, you lose 5 HP. The poison damage is being increased from 8 HP a tick to 12 HP per tick. But the poison timer is now longer. Oh, no, the poison timer is being decreased from 2.5 seconds per tick to 2 seconds. Plus, IQ can no longer detect the mines, and Brava can't hack them.
That actually does not sound too shabby. He might actually be a fairly situational operator.
Yeah, to try and balance it out now, though, the goo mines are not going to be as invisible. They'll be more visible, and the HUD icon is now removed completely, so Legion can't see where he placed his mines. You just have to remember. Gotcha. He's also getting the super shorty.
Oh, well, that's nice, I guess. You know, Legion, hey, when in doubt, either add a 1.5 or a secondary shotgun.
We're about to have to like expand it to the big 7 now, because of...
Dude, honestly, yeah, Legion sounds like just genuinely fun to play now. So looking forward to that, perhaps, coming into the new season, along with many other things. Just about a minute burned away, actually, on this clear. And SSG still look like they want to try to have some impact on that top floor. Someone's still over by that CEO window rappel. Got another player. I thought for a second there was someone by top square, but I guess not. You've got Force opening up the Canto wall while someone else just watching that, so there is a bit of pressure in case someone tries to fall back. But it looks like for right now, DarkZero, they want to take a gunfight before doing so. Some Exkyrus charges detonate, but that drone isn't concerned for checking CEO. I don't think they're aware of the Thorn's position, that being Rice.
This is also a nasty angle from Panba, but he can't quite land the shot. He'll end up worse for wear in that engagement. That leaves Rice and Gavin upstairs still as Panba falls back. So you got a 2-man extension up here. SSG members still on this north rappel hunting for Rice, if they even know he's here. Finally, Rice will make the jump, but it's far too late. Ashen's covering it, and that'll give SSG the opening pick.
Still a minute 20 left to go as well. And assuming the top floor is clear, they could try to get a little bit of vertical down if that's what they want to go for. But it might just be a Hail Mary into the bomb site. Forrest already coming up the marble staircase. And we know that some of the quad wall, I think, has been opened up as well. So an angle could be gathered by SSG if they're able to clear out that player inside of Archive. So all things considered, if they're able to get a chokehold on some of these people just off the bomb site, there's potential to execute.
Handball all the way in lobby. Not sure if J90 knows about it. He could potentially go for a flank. It seems like Forrest has an inkling. Valkyrie of Canadian also backed off towards Tellers, but like you said, only 2 people on site. In comes Forrest, he'll get lit up from the back by Panbazoo. Now they know about his position, and Forrest on the re-swing catches him. Plant going down from False Forrest with immaculate cover is now good for 2 kills. Another for J90 as Canadian attempts to come back from Tellers, and that leaves NJR in a 1v5 post-plant. He'll need to ace and get on the defuse in 30 seconds, and Ashen puts a stop to it. SSG, after a really good first round from DZ, answer back with a flawless.
And I'm glad for SSG that although it took them a while to clear out the roamers, they didn't try to overcomplicate in that round, realizing how much time it took. They instead essentially tried just working together from two main points of the map, that being bottom square, with someone also playing by the printer window to help a little bit in that direction, or a little bit in that direction, pardon, and also having two people going along near the basically the marble staircase hallway by the beepers that lead into the opposing bomb site of open area, to also still have some attention directed into tellers and archives, because again, you can hold a lot of powerful angles by having two people just sitting there, essentially cutting both the sites in half and completely flatlining any kind of execute that could build up from there. So SpaceStation still having attention to detail while in that man advantage went a really long way. And to think if we still had someone roaming for a little while longer on that top floor to waste more time, maybe that round could have panned out a little different.
I was a little worried about that drone. I'm so sad that Rice didn't go earlier, though. Because I feel like he was thinking about it for a while. I think maybe his opportunity was when Pamba took that fight in Janitor. He just missed it. Now, John, the site's Teller's Archives.
Which we saw yesterday, too.
We did. And it was DZ that
DarkZero.
defended it. For some reason, they like this site. It's probably one of the least played, I think, right?
I mean,
Mining
compared
gets
to
played more than
CEO,
Tellers.
Absolutely. I think
mining on
compared to
Cafe.
CEO, it might be like a devil's advocate kind of thing, you know? Of like, really, what, or the lesser of two evils, that's the right phrase. Maybe that's how DarkZero rationalizes it, because CEO, it's a really tough site to defend, especially with Montaigne on the board, which SSG has brought from time to time. And a Blitz as well. They tend to bring him out, too.
I would
Maybe
love
that's
to see
why.
Blitz. Blitz would be so funny. I
Sadly,
love
no.
watching Blitz play.
Sadly, no. Blitz going down Blue Bunker. Oregon was banned.
That's true.
Maybe
We
it's for
saw,
the best.
DZ played Blitz on Bank, though, for the clear.
Ooh, you're right. There's still
They
hope.
could. There is. We'll have to wait till they're on the attacking side. Utility funneling in from SSG. The Selma reveals Gab's position. That'll make the Wamai a lot less safe. The shield being destroyed, too. That'll prompt the Wamai to get aggressive, maybe try and catch the Flores unaware, but Ashen has since gotten the hell out of there. So Gab will be left to his own devices in stock. Whether or not SSG knows is a completely different story, however.
Bit of damage dealt onto the Dokkaebi, but no actual kill just yet for DarkZero. And we're at that same minute 20 timer, except this time Rice is still alive on the top floor. Just kidding. I quite literally jinxed him, poor soul. But it's still even, actually. DarkZero,
what?
get the man up. Gavin with the pistol shuts down J9L. Pamba as well will get rid of Ashen from the equation. That leaves just Hot and Cold, which again, his position was already detected earlier in this round, and Forrest, who's once again bottom marble. So in this case, SSG, they've got no chance of vertical. Almost all of DarkZero has now fallen back to the bomb site. If not, they're just outside of it. So there is really not a lot of hope for SSG that they can confidently push into the objective and come back from round number 3.
Gavin, a huge 2K. And again, the information from SSG not really there. He just drops in and kills the two players' copy. He finally gets finished off by Hot and Cold and makes things a little bit more doable for SSG, but there's still so much information for DarkZero as well. I mean, when I talked about the lack of info for SSG, but DZ have bulletproofs. They've got, I think, one bulletproof, and they've got the Vault cams from NJR placed around the site too. Pambazoo's going to start swinging the window. It's like maybe off of info. Forrest, first man to try and punch into the site, but NJR takes him out relatively quickly. Canadian the follow-up, and DZ off the back of Gav, opening things up. They go up 2-1.
And again, although we had that entry on the top floor, there was a bit of contention across the map. And even though, again, Rice had still died, of course, he had wasted a lot of time playing up above and even forced away the Dokkaebi. So Hot and Cold couldn't really get active in that round until the final 40 seconds or so. But it did spring up. I think it did a little bit of damage. But again, DarkZero just being able to kind of relax in the objective because not a lot of pressure was put out in a timely manner. They had a lot to look forward to when it came down to the final 30, and they still had a man advantage. SpaceStation they've been really slow with some of these takes, and it's just very concerning so far to have their bank attacks just be this this slow.
Yeah, something that I mean, it's been a problem with SSG forever now, and something that a lot of people thought was going to be fixed with, you know, picking up Forrest and J9O and call out as coach as well. They're looking like DZ pace right now, John. I must say.
Maybe that's why they've got the Montaigne. Yes, just
Could
be
be
a little more aggressive with the Ying.
Direct server with the Monty. You could too, because so I saw Ashen like hovering over the Zero. Their initial plan may have just been like, you know, direct server, have the Zero lurk top square with his cams, the flank watch. But he switched off of it. And there are players on SSG all the way upstairs. So there's a Monty going direct. I think he's maybe got some support from J9O, but the rest of SSG are still interested in clearing.
Saying E-Box now opened up here by Hot and Cold. Even J9O's on the top floor. So yeah, I think you're correct that there's at least going to be some bit of a clear happening before we see this play erupt by bottom server. We're just forcing some of the roamers back to get a free kill, holding some of these longer angles. Pamba looking to challenge, but he'll now disengage. Still a bit of confrontation by the middle of E-Box, but no kill just yet. Force now begins to pop his head out, looking for a bit of info to relay to his teammates, as they're soon to be ready when it comes to dealing with the server presence now that some of these roamers have actually begun to fall back. But having to deal with both the pulse and smoke, that's a lot of info and just general space denial. So this could take a long time to effectively deal with these two defenders. C4 tossed out, but it's not going to connect onto Ashen. Therefore, still given the opportunity for vertical, now forcing Canadian to fall away. But across the map, Gavin springs up and adds more chaos to the mix.
Not just chaos, but J9O dead. Fultz is in the middle of the bomb site. Hold on. How the hell did he get here? And he's looking to cut off Canadian. Gets the smoke too. Fultz just materializes. Dead center in A, and he's looking for more. Now DZ are scrambling to get back to the bomb site. Rice hits a nasty shot right through the pixel as Forrest tries to take more space as the Monty. In a 3 versus 3, he ends up ADSing and just dies to Rice. Don't really know why Forrest did that. That could be a round-losing play as Panda still lurks in blue. Ashen seems to be aware he was aiming at it. In comes the swing. Ashen wins it. Back to 2 apiece. Default walls being opened now. He's got case control, but you no longer have the benefit of the Ying Candelas to drive a wedge in this defense. You no longer have the benefit of the Monty for free cover, and there's Goyo Fire. There's another pack protecting that default plant with only 30 seconds left. This round could be over just off the virtue of the remaining defender's utility as Rice makes matters worse, cutting down Hot and Cold upstairs. It's all up to Ashen as the second Goyo pack now gets blown up. And he knows he has to go for a play. There is no chance that he can go for this plant. He'll end up sprinting right through the fire, through the flames. Rice cutting him off from main stairs, trying to play for Gavin's contact, but none of them are peeking. They'll give Ashen a little bit of space to move, but the time is so low. Even if he wins one engagement, he won't be able to get to the other, but Gavin shuts him down. And DZ, despite a little bit of chaos being thrown in by the Dokkaebi, still come away with the round.
Yeah, I believe it was Fultz walking down Garage or something that had all that impact as Dokkaebi, but still falling on deaf ears towards the end. SpaceStation, after a very awkward first half, will have to go for a timeout to try to think things through and maybe find an even half against DarkZero on their map pick.
Last guy.
E3 where? EMP is false.
Say again. Habana's going E3. Ace is going to go CO windows.
Yeah,
we're going to put a Dokkaebi with the Habana, or we're going to Dokkaebi with an Ace on the CO windows for this clear as well. Take a, like I said, take a Flores for the fucking clear on the square side. Last guy, let's look for that lurk and that control side open early, okay? So whoever wants to do that, let's look for that control if we can get that early.
I do that.
Jack, on that,
on E3.
Hey, listen, on that as well, try to rotate down one of your hard breaches late round box to open that small office wall if it is still closed on that, so we can work that execute on the archive side. When it's back to tellers, let's prioritize just the 22 cast scheme on that, okay? So pretty much same drill, except for tellers, we're going to do 2 square side, 2 Windows side, then 1 E3 side, and put the Amana there once again just for the refill.
Heard.
That's call out taking control there of his team, trying to dictate the clear. I also, John, I gotta go back to Forrest. Why was he ADS'd? Why did he peek? Ashen was coming through. They also knew about the Valkyrie on blue stairs. Why did they not prioritize killing the Valk, and then just go for your normal Monty plant. I mean, if he really wanted to, he probably could have also just destroyed the Goyo packs. Also, with the open area roam, wasn't the hatch open? Hot and Cold could have also destroyed the Goyo packs from above, so that they wouldn't have been an issue at the end of the round by the time they had all that control. I don't know. That was just, you know, a lot of weird stuff all around from SSG.
Probably just heat of the moment. Maybe saw an opportunity to take a gunfight and win it. Sometimes it's better to be the aggressive Montaigne, and you know, if you've got a man advantage with a Monty, that's even more beneficial. But unfortunately, it just didn't go the way SSG were expecting it to, and it backfired pretty badly. Could a util already used to maybe make a walk into sight a little bit easier, but there's still a Fenrir mine placed on it, as I believe it's not activated, therefore making it indestructible to most things. I think a nade would still blow that up, actually, but I'm not 100% certain about that. Still a fairly similar extension to what we had last time open area was in play, besides now Rice is on the Valkyrie rather than the Thorn, I believe, is the only major difference. So more intel overall for DarkZero, and maybe the opportunity of a Nitro Cell if need be. But speaking of that info game, I think SpaceStation have acknowledged that Archives is kind of free for the taking as of right now until Canadian walks back in, but he's immediately shut down by Force, not aware the Nook is already so deep into the building, and now he'll reposition, maybe looking for a new fight to take, fails.
Amba cuts him down to get the refrag. I liked that play. It was a daring one from SSG. I think, I think that he had Hot and Cold rotate over with his suppressor to open the barricade, and as he walked in, the Fenrir started to swing the doorway. The timing just wasn't there. Panba has also gotten 2 more kills now on the top floor, killing all the players on the rappel, both Fultz and Ashen. So, he probably just won the round. I mean, there's no way Hot and Cold and J90 can come away with this. Not with everyone on DZ now getting back to the site, playing on the site. You only have 1 player by Tellers and Archives, so you're not going to sacrifice 2 bodies there. You still got a C4 in Rice's pocket. The only thing really going for SSG at this point is the fact that they still have some utility, and they've still got a minute to play.
They'll try to use that last 50 seconds as wisely as they can. Hot and Cold looking to maybe find a bit more intel, or at least blow something up with that Rotero drone, but nothing to really find just yet. Now the timer continues to get lower and lower. Is Janino just going for some vertical with his Abana builds? I think that's the best option they've got, considering both Hot and Cold and Janino have stuns respectively. But this is still just taking more and more time off of their clock. And trying to plant in this position could be very daring. Even if they can work off the hatch drop, that still leaves someone vulnerable to just getting shot. And J90, if his teammate dies with Case, there's no way he's going to recover that, let alone, you know, be able to plant a 1v4.
There might not even be a way that he makes it through this window. And there's a giant rotate next to him.
Hot and
Cold tries to go through the site, and Gavin swats him away. J90's now alone, and he's walking into a crossfire. Panba with 4 kills on the round, 3 of them upstairs, and then the finisher here. DZ up 4-1.
It just, like, the idea is there for SSG. You know, they're realizing the initial problems, and they're trying to find ways of working together to clear out people, you know, like Pamba and Janitor. But it just seems like everyone's still too far away to try to play for trades. Maybe some of the timing just isn't necessarily there. I was going to wonder, you know, where's the guy going up main stairs, for example? Well, Janino was there. It just took him until 2 of his teammates unfortunately died. Maybe he was more focused on getting the canter wall opened up, then realized that, you know, it's electrified. He's like, oh shit, I got to rotate up main now to go help my teammates, which takes even more time. Just little things like that that SSG aren't prepared to adjust in time for has costed them a lot of 1-for-1s that aren't going to go their way. And again, DarkZero, they've been also very patient in the same breath. You've had moments where they're really aggressive, but after they win those first couple of entries and have a man advantage, they don't overstay their welcome, which is something they did a couple of times against ATK and had lost rounds because of it. But now against SSG, they've wisened up to that, and they're not giving SSG any opportunities to come back from a disadvantageous position.
No, we've seen no comebacks from SSG so far. The 1 round that they've won is flawless.
Yep.
And since then, they've had very middling success in any of these rounds. Something that DZ have really punished them for. Panba is 7-2. Gavin is 6-2 after 5 rounds. And no one on DZ is really lagging behind. I mean, 1-3, that's not awful That's fine.
Now, the one
Well,
time he said
SSG,
NGR needed to step it up, he did. So
That's
I'm not
true.
worried about him. I'm
That's
not
true.
worried.
He was going 6 and 11, and then finished. What was it, like 11 and 13 or something?
Yeah, something in that ballpark. Maybe
Something
even a little
crazy.
better.
Yeah,
Like
maybe
12.
like yeah, something like that. Meanwhile, SSG don't have a single player positive.
Yep. Not been looking good. Ashen is neutral. That's the best they've got right now. The newest member of their team right now. As he's trying to open up stock to make it easier to get rid of Gavin. Currently, that has not worked out, though. A little interesting to not see Flores to maybe help with that. But I guess they were worried that he'd get shot instead. Whatever. Over a minute burned away here for SSG as well, and they've really made no progress on this top floor clear. Fultz even being down. Did he just fall off?
the
Oh, he
roof?
did. Aw, that sucks. At least he gets
All right.
revived by his teammate and no one kills him. So the Logi bombs and pocket EMPs could still be used in this round. He's just going to have to be very cautious as to how he positions himself as he's one shot away from
At least with his utility, he doesn't really need to be anywhere specific. You just press a button and it works. So, you know, you can still be safe while being useful. Rice is upstairs. He's the only man left upstairs. No, Panva's prone in janitor, using those nasty angles that we've seen him set up through the shelves. Finally, he'll bottom down to the first floor. Gavin also starts to fall back, and Forrest is just in the hallway. He dies. Rice is undroned. Jane, I know, gets swatted away upstairs. Blindsided completely. Ashen is in the sight, but he goes 1 for 1 and drops the case. John, I think this round's over.
I think you're correct with that statement. So I'll have to say the same thing. This round looks over. They know where hot and cold is, pushing into the bomb site heroically, but it only gets him 1. Rice will eventually put him out of his misery. And SSG, yeah, again, just look kind of disjointed on their attacks. I would have much rather have liked to seen Forrest maybe holding a more passive angle, you know, waiting for someone to fall off the roam as like 2 or 3 of his teammates are upstairs actively flashing out Rice. Again, like the ideas are there, but something just gets muddy at the midway mark. And then, you know, you've got Forrest walking down the main hallway and Gavin's waiting for him. There's no pressure above him, so he doesn't need to fall into the arms of Forrest. He just gets a free kill. And then everyone else is still just going with plan A. There's no like fallback or reset. Ashen's by himself in sight and just that's diffuser control. Yeah, just a lot of really questioning things are going on with SSG on bank. And yeah, it's a 5-1 split. That's something incredibly challenging to come back from on really any map. Even very defender-sided maps like Oregon, for example. Having a 5-1 split is kind of like the beginning of the end, as you are sometimes just unable to come back, as every once in a while you'll see just kind of a default site won by an attacking team, and that at least guarantees overtime. They only have to have 1 clean round, and they at least guarantee overtime. Then it's a completely different story if we get there. But I think DarkZero have probably more in the tank than just 1 round on their map.
I would certainly hope so. If SSG
Yeah, right.
come back, who knows what could happen? Because remember, we've got infinite overtime. We saw it yesterday. Us specifically had to deal with that. 18 rounds. We'll see if SSG can bring us there. Or maybe they take 6 defensive rounds in a row. Who knows? Anything's possible, right?
True.
DZ, though, are rocking Gokubi, Jackal, Ying, Monty. I would want to do terrible things to myself if I was up against this lineup, but Fultz takes out the Buck. Panda refrags. I mean, the Buck, yeah, it's a kill. It's great, but you've still got redundancy in the hard breach charges on Panda and Canadian, and Forrest just kind of peaks, and now your smoke is dead.
Yeah, definitely more bang for DarkZero's Buck in this comparison. A majority of the roam is gone, and yeah, a lot of time stall is also removed. So not needing as many hatches opened up, you can use some of these secondary hard breach charges to get longer angles established and maybe help yourself into the bomb site. No Warden as well is going to make this Yin Candela and Smoke Grenade concoction really annoying for Space Station, as the only thing they have to really deter that are Nitro Cells, which with a Montaigne, you could bait those out effectively. And this is probably not Canadian's first time considering how used to he is playing on this map and as Monty.
At the very least, you know, they've got Goyo too, which can burn away a little bit more time, but Canadian spots it out and they'll probably be destroyed from the hatch. As an attacker, you always want to destroy them on your own terms. rather than the defenders. Hot and Cold does have a really nice long angle, but yeah, it's going to be really hard to hit a shot like that. Hanba now destroying said Goyo packs with plenty of time to spare. Still a minute, and they burn away, what is it, 25 seconds?
Give or take,
Something like that. So they'll still have like 30 seconds to go for this push, even when once the Goyos die down. NJR with a follow-up kill onto Ashen. That knocks out one of the C4s, John. Now SSG only have one more.
And again, Canadian still on a decent amount of HP. Walks in, baits the plant. His teammate could drop down to kill the guy with the C4, or Canadian simply just backs up. Either one would be effective in that manner. And again, with the lack of the Vulcan packs, they have enough time to do that.
30 seconds left. Because like I said, they've got enough time for the execute. Candela's coming out to facilitate a vault push while they go for the main site play. Caught in the Goyo, Panba dies, but the plant has since gone down from Canadian. And now a post plant with a Monty up. This is an incredible advantage for DarkZero. SSG need to prioritize killing Rice and NJR. Without those two players dead, this round is a sure loss. That's why J9O is trying to retake upstairs. Rice is hiding away. He knows he doesn't have to go for the fight. All he has to do is delay time. In comes Hot and Cold, but the Monty calling out perfect info will give the kill to NJR. J9O, the last one left. Rice is dead. NJR is just around the corner, playing around his Monty perfectly. And DZ with a clinical attack go up 6-1.
Major contrast from what we saw when SpaceStation were trying a similar effect. It felt like the Montaigne was a little more proactive in that round. And also, again, the way that DarkZero and SpaceStation were just positioning themselves, it's just night and day. So, match point already for DarkZero after they have basically a flawless round with the help of that Montaigne. Win CCCV.
Just chill, Nick. You're him. You can't walk out, Nick. Nice.
Let's fucking go. Good shit,
Good
boys.
fucking job, guys. Let's go.
Woo! Teller's
They seem
Archives
much better.
again, huh?
Yeah, you know, we mentioned this a little bit. CEO it's unarguably like one of the toughest bomb sites to defend
I think
on
you
bank.
mean inarguably.
Oh, really? All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for the
Excuse
correction.
you.
Yes.
This guy's getting paid. Can you all believe that?
No, I can't because I'm not.
That's right. That's right. Know your place. I'm just kidding.
Is my place the 5th in rank today, Harrison? Is that going to happen? You gonna
Actually,
rank
I
it
don't
up? I'm
I
gonna
don't
rank.
know. We'll have to see.
I'm booking my appointment for rankage today. I'm very malnourished from my elo.
No one else is on right now.
Yeah, I know.
Unless Megan Ninja is going to play ranked. I don't know about that one.
That's
I'm excited to see SSG, kind of back in their ways with the Mozzie and the Vigil. Got the Alibi to assist the Roam too. DZ, their clear last time was really good. SSG, I guess, kind of figuring, DZ's info game has been spectacular, so we want to try and disrupt that as much as we can. Obviously, in a dynamic roam like this, the static mute jammers are not necessarily the best. Mozzie's pests are a little bit more versatile, and of course, Vigil, you kind of protect yourself in that case. Panba, already in, will chuck a nade out. Was that by accident?
I don't think so. I thought he was cooking it, but he then just darted off. So
Yeah.
I'm really not too sure about that. And look at this Canadian just already in Janitor Hall. And he's got Gavin
Janitor
right
got
behind him for the
wallbanged.
entry. Wow. What a wall bang. More info being gathered by the Monty as well. Could be another freebie lined up here. I think NJR's got the cut as well, so Ashen can't really move all too much. Yeah, he spots the Kanto wall, and there he is, dead to rights by the G36C. Sure, Faults will get a response on the Pamba, so the Nook Lurk is now eliminated, but the main facet of this attack has been spot on for DarkZero once again, this Montaigne being a genuine threat against SSG's Roam.
I mean, yeah, DZ played a whole lot of Twitch, but I just don't think you can leave the Monty up. I don't think you can afford to do that. Because SSG aren't even playing Mira.
No, they're not. I thought they were with that Twitch ban, to be honest.
It could also be to like protect their Goyos, but Goyo didn't even really work that much that round. So that'll leave Houghton, Forest, and Fultz. The 3 versus 4, not undoable, but this Monty's still a looming threat. There's dread mines stationed all around the bomb site to try and disrupt anyone entering through. Fultz is tucked behind a filing cabinet. Oh, the rotation! Perfectly timed. Gavin can't catch him, and Hot and Cold will grab another kill. Gavin with a third, though, onto Fultz. As Forrest now comes back to the bomb site. Hot and Cold goes down as Gavin kills him through the dread mine, and an ace with the pistol to finish for Gavin to win the map. Fear mines be damned. This guy does not care. 7-1 for DZ.
What a performance by the entirety of DarkZero and Gavin to really step things up. Really get that full sprint in the last few meters of that dash. And again, to boot, the intel game, it was spectacular for DarkZero. A lot of Gavin's ability to get in there and just shoot straight like that had to do off of someone actively calming for him. Canadian just simply being able to walk in and create so much of a presence in that round, so much fear, quite literally, to help Gavin get all 5 kills that round was just impressive. And that was kind of the moral of the story, is SSG on both the attack and defense never had a way to counter DarkZero's playstyle for Bang. It really just seemed like they weren't prepared to play on that map at all, which is very odd. If that was the case, why didn't you ban it?
Yeah, the Monty made their defensive roams pretty much useless. Again,
I
get the Twitch ban, but I just don't think you can afford to leave the Monty up against Canadian. And man, that ace from Gavin, 2 kills was it? Through the dread mine at the end there.
Yeah.
That means Gavin's reaction time combined with Canadian's info was good enough for Gavin to get the kill before the blind effect fully came through. Huge ace from Gavin, huge map from DZ, a real confidence builder. 7-1 over SpaceStation Gaming, who have looked really dominant this tournament so far. That's certainly a statement. And we'll go back to the desk to discuss it.
Thank you, boys. The last time DZ and SpaceStation played, it was a 7-0 for DarkZero. Now only a 7-1. This thing isn't really looking all that better. Slowly and surely, the rocket ship is being sucked into the void, but not slowly. It's happening really, really fast. 7-1 because of a 5-1 half, and then no response from SSG at all after making the side swap. Gabe, there's a lot of things we said about SpaceStation in the pregame that would have looked a lot better had they done at least more than just 1 round in this map. That was abysmal.
Yeah, I mean, I was honestly surprised. Like, I thought it was going to be a lot closer than it was. Granted, I knew DZ is very strong on this map, but I thought, SSG would put up a little more of a fight. But given what was shown, I mean, they got shit on. Like, that's just the best way to put it. Like, they got shit on. DZ played really strong games, and even in some of those defenses,
he's gonna try to spam me. One second.
One up.
Still and
Archive,
held
on the soft
points, held the end.
Nice!
SSG was
Wow,
kind of not
good shit, Gav.
playing
Oh,
well together. I mean, we saw the breach that one. I mean, not the breach. Said breach. As you guys were talking about Valorant, the ace throwing the charges all by himself, not getting the wall, and like, I don't know, it just looked very sloppy overall from SSG.
Yeah, I mean, we highlight Gavin, who just has a nuts map. 12-3, an ace on the final round to cap it all off. 4-1 on the entry. Pamba didn't even have to do shit this map to still just have a solid performance. I mean, no entries is what we're used to usually seeing out of Pamba, but still going 10-4, playing the Ying, hitting some nice shots. And honestly, SSG, just a really disappointing performance. No standouts, and it seemed like they were asleep at the wheel. It's almost like exactly what happened in Stage 1, where DZ come out, and they just smack SSG across the face with a 7-0. Now it's a 7-1, so SSG improve a little bit, but really, it's just not nearly to the expectations that we expect and have been set for SSG, especially out of this tournament.
Even the one timeout that we heard from Callout seemed like he had a basic idea on the things that they wanted to try and execute on, but there's a lot of things that I think were oversights from SpaceStation. Namely, I do kind of agree with John's point. If you're not all that great at this map, why did you allow it to get through the ban phase? Why not try and take this one out earlier? If you know, historically, it's been a really good map for DZ, so a bit of... But Gabe, there were also more confusions just on the operator bans themselves, especially leading to why we had a 5-1 first half in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised given how DZ plays. Like everyone knows how DZ plays, everyone knows how Troy plays, and just the whole 9 yards. So I'm kind of surprised to see that with the ops that were left up, SSG was not playing into that. Like leaving the Valve cam up on Bank, I think is a really strong for defense to have in general, having all that information. And DZ played extremely well off of it. Also Troy playing on the Vigil, like they didn't bring anything to like clear a roam or to even like help do anything towards the round. They were kind of just spearheading everything and hoping to catch DZ off guard. And in that one round you saw Fultz, I think, blank through Garage, which I thought was a great round from Fultz to get those 2 picks, using that Dokkaebi, I'm assuming, to get them off cams and kind of sneak into sight. But that was really like the one round that I can be like, oh, SSG actually played well. But overall, I mean, they aren't playing into the operators that are currently on the lineup that DZ was bringing.
Mason, is this more of a case of DarkZero? Like, were they doing anything special in this game, or was this just SSG tripping over themselves?
No, DarkZero just played their game. I mean, they played the same bank that they played against ATK yesterday. Literally, no changes. The difference was that Monty was on the board versus this time around, that Monty was on the board. Sorry, last time around against ATK, Monty wasn't on the board. This time around, he is. I think that's a massive mistake, and I agree with Harrison as he was ending off, as he threw to us, that, yeah, Monty with Canadian, I mean, he just uses it so well, and with the young talent and gun skill that DZ has, you saw Gavin basically just follow Canadian, and all he had to do was, all Canadian had to do was just say, Gavin, point and shoot. This guy here, this guy here, this guy here. It was free info, and it was so good. And on the SSG end, when it came to their attacks, their util was crap, their information was crap. I mean, really, it was just ugly, and it was bad. That's the best I can put it. It was shit.
Well, let's talk about Skyscraper, if only for a second, because that would be the ideal spot for things to get a little bit of a switch around, but even we at this point aren't totally sure if it's going to happen. Mason, the idea for SpaceStation, if DarkZero banned this map first for a really long time when it first came into the pool, they've started picking up plays on it more and more over the past couple of months. In Copenhagen, at SI, in Stage 1, there were more opportunities for DarkZero to play this map. Do you know if they were good on it enough that this is a weird pick for SSG? Is this a surprise pick? Like, is this trying to trip DZ up with their own game? And is this a smart thing now that it was a 7-1 half and they're going to get preferred side on Skyscraper?
I think this is just more of a, hey, let's see what we can do on this map pick out of SSG versus a, hey, DZ, like, we're going to try to take you to a map that we know you're kind of good on. I think that's kind of the idea, right? It's just, hey, let's see, right? This tournament, it isn't like SI. It's not a major. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but we still want to get some good practice and get some game day reps in on what it would be like to play against a team who obviously understands the map probably better than we do, because you haven't seen SSG play on this map at all since this new, basically, incarnation of this team, right? This new roster, new inception. We don't know what to expect from SSG, so it could just be a big question mark that DZ have, because what prep can you do if the team hasn't shown it?
True thing. Lax, what are you thinking about how Skyscraper's going to go?
I mean, I'm a DZ fan now. Like, sorry, SSG, but like, DZ's winning this. No, I mean, truthfully, we were talking about in the beginning, what do you do, like, when a team gets 7-0'd, whatever that case is, and, like, when I think about it, DZ didn't do anything special, in my opinion. I think they just played their game, and they played really well off that, and they got the 7-1. Whereas SSG, like, I think they really just fumbled the bag. Like, I don't think it was DZ, again, playing, like, a super intense game of Siege. Like, I think SSG really has to look back on, like, okay, like, where were our mistakes? Where was the teamwork lacking? Where was the communication problems? The whole 9 yards going into this. And if they can't fix that, I mean, I genuinely think this is going to be a clean sweep, because DZ really came out strong. And, we were talking about, our team's taking this serious. Are they not taking it serious? DZ's clearly taking it serious. I mean, they went the whole 9 yards with ATK, GGG the other day. So, I mean, clearly DZ's in it to be serious. So if they're going to continue that, then, I think it's going to be a clean sweep going into this next map.
Man, it would be really anticlimactic if the grand final of this tournament that had the gimmicks of new maps, infinite overtime, and only best of threes, if this thing were to get all the way down to the wire and get both pro teams in at the very end, and for us to have no infinite overtime, no new maps, and this thing is over before we even get to a map 3, yeah, I'd be pretty sad about that. And so would SpaceStation, considering the effort that they've already put in with this new squad. Could DarkZero end this thing in 2, or is SpaceStation finally giving us a trifecta map? It'll be Harrison and Fellow with the call.
So, map 2, SSG's pick incoming, Skyscraper. We'll see if they can wake up, because I think there's 2 things, John, that are pretty central to SSG's identity that were shockingly absent in that first map. 1, good drone work, and 2, abusing operators. I mean, we didn't even see Jackal. We saw the Ying never really get utilized to its fullest extent. We didn't even see great stuff from Dokkaebi except for that one round where Fultz was able to walk into the site. Like Laxing said, they weren't able to abuse the operators that were left up, and their adaptability was also not there. I mean, right, with how good the Valkyrie was, we didn't see IQ. You know, back to the Jackal point with how heavy the roaming was, we didn't see Jackal. So I'm hoping we see more on Skyscraper, where SSG are obviously, well, hopefully going to be more comfortable.
Hoping for a Montaigne ban as well, because
He's
only
real good
if you're
on Sky too.
yeah, not only if your opponents are very good with a specific operator, you should ban it, but also if you're not going to utilize them at all, you also should probably ban it. That's really like the double win, I guess, when it comes to banning an operator. Because even when SSG brought out Montaigne the one time, I think it was, they didn't really utilize him at all to be a genuine space maker. A lot of space that was made in that basement round was off of, I think it was, Fultz lurking garages Dokkaebi and killing 2 in sight. That was, or 1 site and then 1 in the backup server rack to then be traded. So the Montaigne wasn't really used for anything besides just a comically large drone. You could have just had a guy in dirt droning, and it would have been the same thing. So hoping we see a Montaigne ban, because he can be used from time to time on this map. And honestly, just general performance on the entirety of the map as well, because it, like we've all said now, SSG just did not look like SSG on Bank. So hopefully on their pick, which is still kind of, I guess surrounded by mystique, we could see the old SSG revived.
I would certainly hope so, because I would like this grand final to be entertaining. And if that doesn't happen, I'd be a little sad, you know. I'd be sad. We also had, some people questioning.
Yeah, there it is.
There's the Monty ban questioning the Sky pick to begin with from SSG, and I feel like that might be. So call out Jin, I know, in Forest, right back on Astralis. They were a Sky team, so perhaps they brought that to SSG. Now Monty and Solus both gone. Obviously, the Monty to target ban Canadian. Monty's also good on Sky, so they do not want to give DarkZero the luxury of having him up. Solus, the first defender ban, is going to put DZ in the hot seat. Do they take out Cade with the Thatcher ban? No. Instead, Solus and Azami are going to be banned for the second time in a row, leaving Cade up with no Thatcher on a fairly hard breach-centric map. Cade could be incredibly important in keeping those outside walls closed.
Instantly, Rice will capitalize off of that. So the default ban that DarkZero almost always, if not always, brings out, being Azami, could potentially lead to some holes into their attack in the second half. But right now, they'll actually abuse the option of Cade as much as possible, which is probably why we're potentially going to see Fultz on Maverick. Already, like going to a site like Exhibition, having that single wall K-Clawed, you can't even like trick it from down below now as effectively, so that really does open things up just from that one point. There's plenty of spots you could probably throw a K-Claw and it still be very effective for the team. And the rest of SSG doesn't seem all too concerned with Hard Breach, because they will probably only need the up. Just kidding, Janino's now an ace. My bad, spoke too soon. And maybe some pocket AMPs could be helpful as well, with Ashen being on the Dokkaebi as well. But they'll just have to, of course, be a little more wary of those K-Claws, but still, of course, having a lot of other options for utility to probably deal with some of those, more common extensions. We don't have any deployable shields to help with that, so of course, everyone knows now Smoke doesn't shield anymore, but you still have the ADSs, a lot of barbed wire that could slow you down, and Toxic Babes with some C-Force tossing as well, which are still going to be a pain.
And obviously, with SSG, not banning the Cade there, they know that they're going to have to deal with that Cade, and their solution is to bring Maverick. Where is Fultz? He's going to open Geisha Wall, it looks like. I feel like... Is he alone?
Yeah.
Oh, he is alone. Okay. No, he's not. Forrest... Okay, so I was just about to say, I feel like him being alone is really dangerous if he's getting that Geisha Wall, but it turned out Forrest is on that rappel. Panva runs out Terrace, almost kills Fultz. He was that close. Forrest had the cover, and Fultz has since left. So I guess they're not really too concerned with opening up the wall all the way. They just wanted to make an angle, maybe bait out a kill. But downstairs, Canadian hunts down Ashen to take down the Dokkaebi. And that advantage has now been swept away. Maybe now advantage in DZ's favor with the HP.
It's a bit of unlucky timing there, I thought, for Jen and O. Just warning almost Geisha. Drone will detect his presence. Nade potentially from down below. Maybe help out with just clearing out some positions or maybe trying to open up the wall a little bit. Closer to me. Oh, no, it was the back of the boxes. So, yeah, it was just to clear out the player who was probably deeper into Geisha. It does some damage to Rice, but doesn't outright kill him. So it's still that 4 versus 4. And now Fultz has eventually been finished off, essentially, from someone peeking that Geisha single wall due to it being soft. He's got a nice angle on anyone inside a drum. That leaves Fultz kind of in a vulnerable position as now the Valkyrie of Canadian flanks, but J90 heard him. Good reaction time by the ace there. Maybe a chance to pick up his teammate. He expects another, and Gavin shut down as well. So far, Fultz being injured actually did more good than bad for SSG as they've completely bounced back.
Good bait there from J90, and the info game is coming back for SSG. Canadian was spotted on the flank as he shot the drone. That's what cued J90 into his position, and through the wall, J90 will get his third. SpaceStation Gaming looking a hell of a lot better than they ever did on Bank.
Yeah, like you mentioned, that info and also general just anticipation of what's going to happen. Again, you mentioned it too, how dangerous it can be to be gunned down while it's getting that single wall opened up. So they have someone covering for Fultz while he does that. And also being able to make sure that you have someone watching your down teammate, expecting a flank to market off that man advantage also went phenomenal for SSG.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
So a great start. Really turned things around from their attacking side on Bank. We'll see if it continues, though, as SSG have matched their attacking scoreline from map number 1. You know, it's not over yet. We don't really know if they were at least better in that round. We don't know if they're going to be better in the half until they win another round. DZ opts to go to Office instead, now bringing the mute. No more Cade, so that hard breach is going to be pretty easy for SSG. It looks like they've probably read into that. It's going to be Dokkaebi with those EMPs, and then, of course, False to follow up with that hard breach. But no, never mind. They want to take Maverick anyway.
Also going to mention, Harrison, for your last map point, SSG did win that round flawlessly the one time they got on the board. So it also shows, sure, they had moments of greatness, but it was actually singular, just a moment of greatness on Bank. So hopefully it turns plural on their pick, the Skyscraper. And yeah, like you mentioned, it'll be probably a lot easier to get the walls opened up in this round. It'll just come down to how effective, of course, maybe the Lurk is going to look if they don't want to go completely direct. A Force playing a little bit closer to where Geisha is as of right now. That could maybe imply he's at least holding a cutoff angle on this rappel. Maybe he'll want to hop in later on. Maybe even playing for grenades below is a pretty viable option, although we have seen some rumors in the past for the site. And yeah, looks like he's going down below to help clear things out. Maybe he'll be the one to destroy that mute jammer, unless pocket EMPs can do just fine in that position. And of course, maybe look for kills if he's got the right info for it.
DZ seem to already be falling back for the most part. Or at least one was. I guess Panba's interested in sticking around. Here's the Maverick coming into play. Yeah, I don't really know why they wouldn't just have the Dokkaebi and Ace deal with this, but you're using the Maverick instead. That's going to take a lot more time. It's also a little bit more dangerous. J90 could very well be exposed while going for it if he doesn't have any help. But Ashen gets the lead-off kill, playing on wave stairs. We saw Rice start to fall back earlier. I guess he was still down by the restaurant side of things and gets caught by Ashen.
An advantage now gathered because of that for SSG. Some more drones destroyed, but their economy still looks fine in that matter. Only thing they've really got to focus on now is maybe some of these Fen mines that Pamba has deployed to stop Alert coming in from across the map closer towards Geisha. That single window being opened up, though, that might force Pamba to get a bit more aggressive here or to make that decision if he wants to fall back right now. But with DarkZero being down a man, it's a very tough choice to make in this current moment for him. He might just try to stick this out and look for a kill.
Ambazu on drone. They know he's here. Player dancing with the window. It's the Brava, I believe, of Hot and Cold. Pamba's looking on the wrong side, but there's a double swing. And if that had failed, then of course you had Hotton on the window to back up. Handball was not getting out of there alive, and Canadian gets destroyed by the SMG-12. Nasty shot from Ashen. The SMG-12 is not the most wieldy of weapons. Gavin tries to amend things with the kill on a J90 and make things a little bit more doable, but as NJR goes down, it's all up to Gavin. Forrest outguns him. With SSG now 2 in a row, they have doubled their attacking scoreline on Bank.
And we'll just continue the trend, hopefully, for their sake. To continue beating the same dead horse of the joke, because it's funny. Also, like for SSG that round, how after they spotted, again, the one isolated defender, that being Pambazoo, that they just hunt him down. They've got a guy on the shrine window, so that's somewhere that Pamba has to now be concerned about. And there's a double stack to kill him as well, coming in from Catwalk/T room. And again, I mentioned this during the round, Pambazoo, when you're down a player in that position, you got to think, well, maybe I can get lucky, get a 1-for-1, and now it's a 4v4, and they still have to clear me out. I think he heard the double lineup pushing in from like the T side, so although he saw the guy moving to the right side of Shrine window, he figured, well, he's going to probably peek last. I could still maybe kill a guy before my fate is met, and that did not happen, so things got even worse for DarkZero. Now they've got, house stairs control, they've got dragon control, they've got people outside by the breach, potentially. Just a lot of angles DarkZero now has to worry about, and they don't have enough players to watch them.
2 rounds in a row now from SSG, John, that they've only suffered 1 death.
Mm-hmm.
Gavin was able to get that kill in the, it was a 2v5, so it didn't really matter all that much. SSG dropping the Maverick now, though, with the Cade up. So what is going to be their plan to get rid of the Cade Claw? They better have some damn good info on where to throw those EMPs. Against the EMPs, it's also incredibly easy to Cade trick against because the radius is so small. It looks like they got it. Ace charges are going to go out. So, there we go. Drone work apt for SSG. They've also got info on the Cade. He was able to run away, just get out in time as Gavin collects the first kill onto Ashen. Not quite sure where that was. Where was that?
I have no clue. I mean, Ashen's been kind of lurking some of these rounds, so it might have been on one of the main roam. Yeah.
Did he try to jump in? He did.
Oh, that's what it was.
Tried to jump in.
Well, thank you, Max, for spotting that one out. So, after a failed Hail Mary, SpaceStation are kind of frozen in time right now as they still get the wall opened up, but I think there's a Fen mine right beneath it, too, so that's still going to be really unfortunate for SSG trying to deal with that effectively. They burned a minute 30 off their timer. Finally, they hop in, but Gavin's waiting for them patiently. Sees the cutoff angle. Doesn't have to be too concerned about it. Can still watch the hop in, but it looks like Canadian, that'll be his primary job as of right now. But actually, no. We talked about this in map 1, overstaying their welcome, something DarkZero hasn't really done against SSG. They'll fall back once again because their roam was already effective in a textbook manner. They wasted more than half the time on the clock and got 2 bodies for it, both the Lion and Dokkaebi, and there's no Candelas left. Really, what can SSG do to create space in this round?
1 nade.
1 nade to win it all for the 3P.
Forrest is gonna do it. Hot and Cold tries to make his way down the black stairs, but just as I say his name, he falls, and Pamba's going to hit the rotation of a lifetime outside to evade Hot and Cold. Fultz looking at him from top mez, trying to catch him. Finally, he gets the kill. But it might be too little too late, and of 2 versus 4, Hot and Cold makes his way into the bomb site, catches Rice not looking. Now he's got control of A, but Fultz is the one with the case. In drops Fultz using the sound cover of the Selma to drop that hatch. And the Frost might not expect it, but NJR wins the fight anyway. It's all up to Hotton in the 1 versus 3. There's a player just to his left. Spots him out just in time. This Canadian kind of hits a bit of a whiff. Another for Hot and Cold, make it 3. Gavin's upstairs. Hot and Cold will try to plant under the cover of smoke. Does Gavin know? The smoke fades, and Hot and Cold is left on an island as DZ, despite a heroic attempt from Hot and Cold, still win their very first point.
Unfortunately, just losing out on somebody so important in the early round, not having Ashen, could have made things, or having Ashen alive partner could have made things so much easier when it came to clearing out the roamers up above, which again was the initial problem that SSG had. Both of their primary intel ops, the Dokkaebi and Lion, just down the drain in a matter of seconds. It did allow DarkZero to be a little more aggressive and then have the opportunity as well to fall off and still force SSG to kind of spend time looking for people who could or could not be in a specific corner, which still led to a lot of death by SSG. And like you mentioned, it was a great attempt by Hanko to bring back that round, but still, DarkZero, they had time on their side. They reclaimed the top floor, so they have vertical against the default plant. Really, that's the best position you want to be in for DarkZero. So finally, they're on the board as well. And now look to T and Karaoke, where they're probably expecting the Maverick, so they'll opt to get off of that Cade and just run something else that could be a little bit more productive, like a Fenrir, which I can't really fault them for. He's been pretty helpful, even though he hasn't been, like, you know, the star of the show so far in this.
And False is still on Maverick.
Yeah. It's been like a game of hot potato right now with this guy.
Yeah,
Or at least
one
like
round
operator
he-
selection.
Like the one round that DZ didn't have Cade, he still brought him, and the one round that False didn't bring him, they had Cade. I mean, the Cade didn't end up being an issue, of course, because the drone work from SSG and the EMPs, but it kind of makes me think, like, if their info is a little better, or maybe like reading into the fact that DZ aren't bringing anything to stop the breach, it could free up a pick.
I think it's just the looming threat if they could bring a Cade. We have to have Maverick now. But I don't know. I definitely would agree. Even just sacrificing one drone make a hell of a difference when you already have so many other intel ops to kind of balance that out as well. Regardless, minute burned away. They're still trying to use the Maverick to the best of their ability. Hot and cold playing just along the black doorway. NJR not too far away from that position as well. It does seem like for SSG, they still want to have some focus, of course, on the house side of the map, but they have a lot more attention to playing these window repels. You've got at least Force right now just looking to gather more intel by the back of Karaoke, maybe to throw a nade in that position, but he's going to go for that just yet. Be waiting on his teammates. A second call given. He knows he's pushed outside of the bomb site, looking to pre-fire, but can't connect a shot. It seems like SSG are going to be more focused towards maybe trying to plant inside of Karaoke this time, but Bolts of the Diffuser, I don't know where he is right now. He's still might be over towards Geisha's side, so I'm really interested to see how this play exactly pans out given where SSG are right now. Oh, no. Well,
I've never seen that before.
I have never... What? So they're not going to plant the ground.
Jane, I know at least he gets the opener. That's kind of the equalizer, I guess. Bolts, I think it might be a little too late to rehost, buddy. Oh, no. And now things have fallen apart. Canadian with a 2K C4. Followed up by Gavin and Rice. And, well... Oh, it's, that's one way to end it.
What? I need a balls after now.
Oh, he
I'm
can't
out.
even shoot through it.
Wow, this sucks.
I guess they'll pause to discuss whether
Oh
or
yeah,
not
yeah,
they'll,
decisioning and whatnot.
yeah, whether or not to like replay the round. Yeah, I don't know. That's
Fight,
I've
fight,
literally never seen that before.
Yeah,
I didn't
guess
know that was a. I mean, I've seen it before on like other maps. I've never seen that on Sky.
Yeah, like old conflict.
At least not in that spot. Yeah.
Or that main lobby one.
Yeah, that was an awful one.
Yeah, I think SK Gaming
That's
might have
That's the new trap.
been. Nice. That wouldn't surprise me if that happens at some point. They like make a Pandora's box trap where someone just gets like consumed into the map. That doesn't seem too far-fetched nowadays. Yeah. I mean, DarkZero, given the fact that SG just kind of ran at them because they didn't have many other options, they did well. But again, I think because they couldn't plant at all and Fultz was stuck in the pillar, that they weren't going to have any pressure. Geisha as well. or any chance of, again, planting with the help of that coverage. They all just kind of hopped in, hope for the best, and yeah, they died. Happens. Such is Siege. It's the circle of Siege that we expect in this game. Now things are evened up, and a decision will eventually be made. That looks to be concluding that round and moving on with an even score. Going to offense now for Dark.
Yeah, because I think they said, whatever, just keep it going. So
Yeah.
we will. Yeah, because I think the official rehost rules say you can rehost if no damage has been done to any players. But I think there's like a time cutoff still. I think it's like a minute and a half or something. And he called it with what, like a minute left? I don't know. Or maybe you can. I don't know. Either way, SSG didn't want it. They said keep it going, so whatever. We will keep it going. Panda is opened up the geisha wall for a run out. I would have to imagine. Oh, maybe once he hears people doing stuff to the castle, he'll just run out the wall.
Ooh, I kind of like that.
That's a funny one.
Some all reliable apps. Oh wow, that's just like a little obvious though. Yeah, Forrest's gonna just see that. A little concerned about it perhaps. Gonna open up an angle. Gonna look to see if someone's playing a bit more active by drum. Spot him just yet for that though. SSG they look like they're gonna try to go for yet another key and over clear, especially and over by Geisha as well, leading closer to drum. I mean, they did that last time and they almost won the round flawlessly, so I can't really blame them for that. But of course, they still had a lot of, direct emphasis as well in the early round. Fultz has his thermite out, waiting for J9O to grenade this bandit battery from down below. And I don't know if that's Rice right next to the wall, actually. So he could be trying to trick it after the first nade goes off. No, it's Canadian. And the nade missed. Did he not time it correctly, or was it just too short?
I think it went. See how there's like a little
bit of dust,
sooty mark like around the desk. He threw it too far.
That makes sense.
See?
Oh yeah, that's
like
absolutely
that.
what happened.
I think that's what happened. I don't know if that's just like weird lighting or if that's actually what happened. Oh no,
Okay.
Hot and Cold can't land the nade either. 0 for 2 SSG with the floor nades.
Good thing there was nothing on the main bridge. So get that over. Some of DarkZero as well, falling back. Oh, I like the little castle adjustment too. So now Pamba's not going to get fucked from that window. Nice job. Again,
That's,
SSG put in for that. Same play.
Have they just given up with the floor nades?
I think so, yeah. Just kind of accepted defeat. Oh, Nash just going to barrel in. He's itching to take this fight against Pamba. Is he going to win it, though? He doesn't! That small adjustment, only having to focus on that singular area, actually pans out well for Pamba. Now they got to really deal with this threat of Dragon. And Rice assisting because the single wall isn't open.
SSG now faltering a little bit, and Rice lands a nice shot onto the head of J9O. A two-man advantage for DarkZero as SSG attempt to push their way into the building. Forrest gets dusted before he can make any headway. The mirror window still up on the main breach for Gavin, too. There's not a lot that SSG are going to be able to do to punch themselves in unless DZ just lose all their gunfights. There's one. 4 more to go. 15 seconds left, though. Not a lot of time for SSG.
Oh, look at this.
Could be an explosive play being set up by NJR as the sledge makes his way into the building. Rice catches one. There's the impact, and there's the swing. Perfectly choreographed by NJR. And DZ take that lead 3-2.
Again, a complete difference in that round for DarkZero, having significantly less on their plate to worry about. Only major thing that happened was the main breach was opened up, and you had the same kind of clear, except with less oomph, over by, T leading into Dragon side. And again, Pamba, the single wall is reinforced next to him into house, so Rice can assist him. He's got a castle barricade on the window. He is looking at one direction that has a Fen mine on it, and there isn't even a double stack up. They have a Gemini droning out the Dokkaebi, and then Dokkaebi essentially pushes in by themselves off that intel, which at the end of the day is still a 50-50 gunfight after Pamba just readjusts. So SSG unable to adapt to that minute difference will cost them an entire round, and they've lost the lead. They were even last round, and now DarkZero up 3-2. and they're going to be heading back to one of the bomb sites they look strongest on, at least during the early game. They won 2 immediate rounds, and now we have an indicator for the Gavini round in Comic Sans. Great.
Also, I can't believe SSU were 0 for 2 with the floor nades. That was crazy.
That was also a tragedy. So again, if that single wall got opened up, you know, maybe there's argument that someone dies there and it's like a 4v4, then talk about that more, but nope. No mega lol.
I guess SSG got to go take some lessons at the Esco School of Nades. He used to be, like, I'm not lying when I say he used to be the best. Unequivocally, the best Florinator I've ever seen.
Any map,
like
any op?
Yep, I remember, like, back on Team Nobu, like, back in T3, Saad, like, tweeted it one time in response to me. He said, like, bro, if you just see, like, a drone come past you, you're, like, some smoke, minding your own business behind bar on AVG, and you just see a drone come past you, and you know you're dead. There's nothing you can do.
Run to the pool table ASAP. Yeah.
Eska's got a nade with your name on it. You're not getting away. Did that go backwards?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
You saw that correct. You're
trying to
not
make sure,
tripping.
like, I didn't start seeing Sanskrit.
Nope. You haven't unlocked a new language. You haven't progressed that path yet.
Damn. Haven't unlocked comprehend languages yet.
No, you haven't. Oh, Ashen's unlocked the ability to walk in sight. Yeah.
Oh,
look at that.
SSG as a whole are in the
planting.
site. Fultz and J90 for a kill each. Panbo with the first refrag for his team, and that's going to force off the planter as NJR also comes through from Big Bar. So at the very least, DZ have put a stop to the execute, and NJR will even the odds at 3 apiece. That's the case down too. And now everyone's dead. Wow, what a biblical pre-fire.
Hodden's not dead.
Dude, Canadian he saw the bullets and he just took it.
No fear in that man's eyes. I gotta respect that at least. DarkZero, both Panba and NJR are a little low on HP. Panba not so much, but NJR, 1 or 2 good shots would probably kill him. So hot and cold. Got a chance at winning this unless DarkZero play pretty close to the chest. Looks like they're really forcing the hand of Hotton to stick that plant. And yeah, through a soft wall. That's an easy shot for Pambazoo. Okay. Thanks for the additional coverage, I guess. Random text at our faces. DarkZero, I mean, after 2 rounds where they were, decisively in the back seat, they sprung around quite quick after that and still had a very convincing first half against SSG on their map pick. I mean, the likelihood of us seeing Chalet, unless this was just a defender-sided skyscraper, which sometimes it is, it doesn't seem very high, that likelihood of us going to a map 3. DarkZero just look like they are outclassing SSG right now.
Absolutely. After being down 0-2, they won 4 in a row, right? Was it 0-2?
Yeah.
It was 0-2.
Yeah. So from round number 3 of barbecue, they were not trolling. They were there
at
to
least, play. At least DZ don't have Monty. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
That's
no
a positive.
Monty.
No Osa either. But Canadian gets his Twitch. That boy is on Twitch.
Canadians jumping for joy. Yippee, yippee. I got my Twitch demo.
Yahoo.
I loved the all chat banter from him when they proceeded to ban Montaigne and Solus. I thought that was so funny. He was eating that up. He's like, yeah, ban him. You'd love to see that.
This is you're also bringing Echo. Thinking that DZ are going to be a little bit slow. Or just for extra info. Although if they wanted extra info, they could have just brought Valk, so I'm going to assume that they think DZ is going to be a little bit slow. Fultz is also roaming. What is this brother doing?
I mean, fast stop, good gun. Can't really fault the man for that. The util's already all placed. Fultz is actually playing rather aggressive, maybe looking to just break a couple of drones and fall away, hold some tighter angles with the 1.5. Yeah, that's it. He's got a shield to work off of it. Oh! Speaking of angles, they don't teach that one in Siege School. Jesus Christ, Fultz. That's your ace dead! I mean, sure, he was probably used mainly for, like, the single wall and then clearing out office a bit. But if you wanted to go for a karaoke take, you are out of luck now. With just a pocket charge, yeah, Gavin's not going to be able to open that up. No way.
Rice. My sweet prince. There was just nothing he could do in that situation. Especially, like, he barely even knows where the shots are coming from because of the suppressor.
So no tracer,
just-
yeah.
yeah,
It's literally
that's
just bullets
just-
coming at you.
So unfortunate. I mean, like you said, at the very least, they do have some hard breach. It's just not the best. It's going to be tough to make it through unless they clear Ashen. But J9O makes matters worse with the kill on the Panba. That's loss of nades now, too. There's no supplement for that. Gavin will just... Okay. Gavin just jumps in anyway. And Ashen wasn't covering the angle, so he's going to get a freebie on Fultz and kill the Echo, looking for another. As the Fender is holding close, the skeleton key comes out. That'll deal enough damage to Hot and Cold to make him skate away towards wave stairs. DarkZero might still have something in this round. Looks like the Ash is now getting ready to just walk in as Forest gets lit up. NJR did, in fact, walk on in, and he'll deal with the bulletproof that could have potentially been watching him, but Fultz wasn't on it. He was watching something else. In fact, he might be watching Ashen. And Hot and Cold will pay the price. Gavin downstairs kills Hot and Cold to make this a 3-on-3, looking for Ashen, and he grabs him. Gavin has turned this round on its head. NJR cuts down, or cuts
this is
off
secured.
the black rotate. That's an easy pinch for Gavin, and Forrest is the last man standing. Beautiful shot, but is it going to be enough? Against NJR and Gavin, the case in Gavin's pocket, and a hard wall. A pocket of safety he could plant behind, but he'll reposition fully over towards the center of the bomb site, and NJR has the cover. 4 kills from Gavin to put the round in DZ's pocket.
And I really thought we were going to see SSG fall back, play a little more to the chest in that round because they still had the advantage. Yet, after Gavin had found his second kill, that was the polar opposite. Again, great repositioning there by Gavin, but not having that passivity there really put SSG at a huge disadvantage.
He had holes.
In gold.
Nice! Let's go! Yeah, you're fucking nasty!
I love how...
So, I don't know how it is for, all of you watching, but for John and I, the player comms are a lot louder than the game. So it sounds like normal gameplay, and then, nice! It's in our ears.
Good shit,
It
Gavin!
hurts.
You're so good!
It hurts.
Literally that.
I
A little
can't
bit.
lie.
We can feel the passion through our headsets. Like,
We can.
it's just... It's
Feel
like,
the vibrations.
yes! Thank you. See, you understand. You get me.
Bro, Grave saying they are so fucking loud, it's absurd. My
Yeah,
brother in
Grave has
Christ-
to listen to them like
My
almost
brother
the
in
entire
Christ,
time.
you control the Discord bots. You can turn them down. You are in control here. Don't type at me. I see him typing. Don't you type at me. Don't do it. He just said fuck you. All right, all good. Because he knows I'm right. What can I say?
Yeah. You've really devalued his argument down to a simple term. Fuck you.
They call me the master of debate.
Yeah.
Oh, the arbiter, if you will.
Dude, Fultz is stuck. They got Pamba hunting him down too. I don't know if he's gonna make it out of this.
Oh wait, maybe they don't know. No, they know.
No,
Yeah,
they
there we
knew
go.
for a fact.
I thought that it looked like he was like looking up with the nade, so I don't know if he was gonna nade the floor or like
Yeah,
the
that's
ceiling
fair.
above him. But yeah, no. Fultz, see ya, my friend.
Who got that? Did Pamba get that, or was it the guy holding the cut?
That was Pamba. You got the nade.
Okay,
kill.
thanks. Writing that down for my notes. Kind of spaced out there. Underlying issue. Taken care of. No more roaming Valk. Now they gotta focus on maybe trying to get this single wall.
Oh.
Opened up laser sight detected.
Oh,
Hold on. Force has got a kind of a nice angle to deal with here in this single wall, but Canadian also, or Gavin, sorry, he also detects him. How could I mix up the goat like that? Gavin's been going crazy on.
I can't believe you. I can't believe you.
Gavin is kind of a menace. I'd be shaking to my boots if this guy was on the enemy team. Wait, he's over.
I think Rice also got hit by a C4 from Ashen. He got cut down to just under
That would
50
make
HP.
sense.
All good though. Pambazoo, who's still got an 8 in pocket, starts to move in underneath. Could look for another nade kill. Actually, he was going to nade Forest, but Gavin picked him off, so he can use his nade for something else. Maybe Ashen behind the mirror window. Oh, but Ashen moves out of the way just in time. However, NJR gets the kill onto J90. Ashen's going to try and get aggressive. He'll kill Rice on the breach. Unfortunately for SSG, though, that's not the case carrier. Canadian still has it in pocket, so all that really does is alleviate a small bit of pressure towards the back site. Long angles trying to be contested by the vector of Ashen. Hot and Cold comes in to assist, and he takes out the mastermind, Gavini, who's been going crazy so far. And wow, another for Hot and Cold on that tight angle, leaving it up to Canadian and NJR. Now it's Hot and Cold's turn to step it up. NJR might actually be able to find Ashen through the rotate if he continues to push in. Hot and Cold needs to go for the trade right behind the wall. He goes 1 for 1 and the time runs out. Ashen just has to hide, and Hot and Cold will get hot. 3 kills to steal the round away.
2 separate rounds where heroics were needed to win them. Gavin in round number 8, or pardon, round number 7, my mistake. Round number 8 was just off the back of Hot and Cold with his masterful play with the TCSG shotgun. Now it seems like another timeout is being called this time, but things are actually quite close now on Skyscraper for SSG.
ID ops for a Cade, and that guy can still be a layer off of that. Okay, so who's feeling like they're cranking right now? Like who's confident in the crankability on the two ID guys?
Give it to Matt.
All right, let's give it to Matt. Who else wants to go with Matt? Who wants to work that ID side on this? Okay, so Liam, Matt, you guys are gonna be cranking off that. Then Fultz, Jack, and Brox, you guys are gonna set up the site side for that on the 32. Listen, so on this basically, so for T, we're gonna do the ID on the office side, right? For ops, we're gonna do it on the T side opposite. For kitchen, we're gonna go directly adjacent above. Okay, so we're gonna start on the off side and layer back into that top part, right? On the hard zone, the kitchen's gonna be a little bit different. Let's put a slight more emphasis on that like T / like purple side hold. Okay, it'll be a little bit different than the rest of the sites. The other sides it'll just be standard issue, like 32 ID, right? Have some gumption on your 2 fellas. Let's crank him right now, right?
Yeah. Should I bring the ID or the Valk? ID or Valk?
Did you say have some gumption?
Yes, he did.
I
Heard that.
I absorbed maybe half of that.
Callout was just speaking like he was at an auction.
The guy was spitting.
He was, yeah. I mean, it was honestly impressive. Like, genuinely impressed by how like concise all of his words felt, yet how fast he was still able to talk. Gotta get some lessons from that man, apparently, for me. Me personally. But SSG now, after a heroic comeback with the help of Hot and Cold, and his shots landed. Besides on the drone, that was like the warm-up shot, and then he was ready to get into action. Now they go back to T room with a ton of C4 capability. Hot and Force and Ashen all combined. They've got plenty of utility as well to slow down DarkZero, both in the intel department, but also, again, just general time crunch with those magnets and smoke grenades. I guess they were expecting Rice to bring out the Ying, as again, the Warden will be a great hard counter for that. So I'm wondering where DarkZero are going to try to execute from, because they tried to go for more of a geisha focus, leading maybe into the karaoke side of the map, with a little bit of presence by Drum and Top Black, of course. But their lineup has drastically changed with that introduction of a Ying. So this could completely change how we see the round pound out for both, DarkZero and SpaceStation. These are 2 completely different compositions.
What do you think ID meant?
I don't know. That and purple. I've never heard those calls. That could be like team specific.
It might just be call out isms.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I just don't understand. Dokkaebi call coming out from DZ. And the Geisha wall will get opened up thanks to Gavin. I think with how well Gavin's been doing, I feel like it's kind of weird to stick him on the ace. And Ashen goes for a play, pumps Rice full of buckshot, but he tanks it. And that'll end up costing the Mute's life.
Crank too hard.
Perhaps.
A tragedy is old.
I think he thought
that
that Rice was far closer than he actually was.
Absolutely. I don't think Ashen would have peeked that if he knew how far away he was. But the Ying's still up. Gonna be very damaging, but he doesn't know someone's in offices. So Hot and Cold will respond. And in terms of value, that is significantly better for SSG's sake, Harrison. You still have that roamer playing off the site a little bit to add more chaos into the mix. And yeah, now your Candelas are gone. That is detrimental to your push. Even if there was a Warden, that's only one person who can genuinely hard counter it. So that's completely off the table now in this last minute.
You also got, I think, Forrest watching the Shrine window, and he'll slam NJR
Wow.
holding the cutoff. Wow. Impressive from Forrest. He had that, what was it? Oh, not Forrest, Fultz. Wrong F name. Whoops. Speaking of nades from below, here's Panba. Goes off a little bit too early, though. And he'll start trying to punch up wave stairs. Gavin makes his way into Gage, but does he know there's someone just behind the suitcases? No, he does not. Forrest goes 1 for 1, but Panba finds his nade kill. Canadian lit up to 1 HP now as he tries to make his way deeper through. Panba still stuck downstairs as he tries to wade his way through barbed wire, but the Wamai and the Mozzie are pretty far off site. Karaoke could be prime and ready for the taking as Panba slams Houghton, leaving it all on J9O. He spots the Iana, but can't win the fight just yet. Panba is just trying to keep him at bay to allow Canadian in, but Canadian drops. Such low HP, and Panba knows he can't go for the pickup. Now he's stuck in that plant. 0 seconds on the clock. J9O, easy cleanup. 1 versus 2 for Jack, and SSG win yet another round.
You gotta play out for time there. Correct call made at just the last second there for SSG, having that long angle. One last chance at stopping the planter from getting in the bomb site. No more coverage allowed there for DarkZero. And sure, for DarkZero's sake, they had a good chance of trying to play for trades there and try to still work their way into the building to maybe go for the objective and narrowly squeeze out series point against SSG. But again, that lack of initial intel when challenging a lot of those gunfights, it gave SSG the upper hand. Looking into after, Rice had won that entry against Ashen, for example, they still weren't aware, the Ying, that there was someone else playing by offices. Either someone just didn't drone out in that position for them, the intel had dried up, or simply put, just kind of walking in blind a little bit. That cost him. And having that Ying alive could have actually been very impactful in those last couple of seconds, to be honest, as well. Could have been a really good space maker to close that gap, but it was a non-factor, really, in that round, besides Rice simply winning a one-on-one gunfight without the assistance of those Candelas. And same thing with some of those initial lurkers, too, losing some of those one-on-one gunfights against Fultz in particular. Just little things like that had a major impact in how the rest of the round panned out, because if you had those trades stacked up with DarkZero in the late round, on top of keeping someone alive like a Ying, like we said, could have seen series point already.
I also kind of have to question, too, Canadians' decision to sprint close. Like, they had a standing sprint rotate for Karaoke. Why did Canadian walk all the way up to the T door? Because he's fighting Panba from the left side of that door. If you just sprint past Geisha Split into Karaoke, there's no way J9O is going to be able to see you.
Was there
I think Canadian... Yeah, there was a standing sprinting rotate.
Oh,
like it was a sprint rotate. Right. Yeah. From the Geisha Split into Karaoke. So I was like, why would Canadian go all the way up like that when you know your teammate's in the middle of the fight? I feel like that decision, too, just allowed J9O back into the round.
Yeah, I kind of got lost in the sauce there, so I misinterpreted what rotate you meant, but yeah, that's a good point.
Good.
And, people get lost in the sauce all the time. It's a dangerous thing. Don't want to have that happen too much, though.
What kind of sauce?
I don't know. Harrison,
if you had to get lost, if you had to get lost in a particular sauce, what sauce would you rather have it be?
Can it be like any sauce?
It can be any sauce.
Well, if it was like a large dunk tank, for example, maybe something that's kind of like thinner, like soy sauce, easy to kind of float around and not get kind of stuck in.
What if you had to chug it?
Ooh, actually, yeah. Oh, I can't imagine chugging like really anything for that much.
I would probably go with something like maybe at least I want it to taste good. Maybe like Japanese spicy mayo. That's a good one.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I was gonna say something kind of like.
I don't know about wasabi mayo because my nose might, explode. But
you gain at least like 10 pounds from that, though.
Not me.
Yeah, true. You have a fast metabolism.
I'm built for it.
That's
built
actually
for
real.
Oh, this is a nice angle from Forrest. We've already seen him hit some nasty shots with the SMG-11, but he whiffs on it. Gavin out-duels Forrest. And that kills the smoke. Gives the lead to DZ with 45 seconds left. Fultz equalizes as Ashen has to skate back away from the site thanks to the flashbang. Gavin just inches away from the bomb site, but DZ haven't cleared the top floor, and they know that someone's likely watching this hatch. That's why there's a bit of trepidation from this attack, as finally they'll try to make their way upstairs. J9O's caught looking the wrong way. As Gavin gets a second kill of the round, looking for his third, he'll nab it, and everyone on SSG falls. It's all up to Hot and Cold.
Gavin!
But Gavin is the truth. He is nasty, and nothing can stand his way as DZ go up to match point.
He has been the playmaker of the series. Good God. I would say get this man signed, but he's already in the league. Almost 2 different aces, several 4Ks on different operators as well. I mean, what can't this guy do? It is insane how he's able to be so proactive throughout the entire round. He gets the opening kill, moves across the map, goes up wave, kills the guy Geisha, and helps his teammates clear out T-Room. Like, this guy is this guy's an entire unit packed in one player. It's so insane how well he's been performing today. Also, to answer your question, Harrison, I'd probably have to go with, you mentioned spicy mayo. I'd maybe go with like a spicy ranch or something, perhaps. Regular ranch. Do like a Chick-fil-A sauce too. That'd be interesting. I think I'd fuck with that. Hated.
Outback bloomin' onion sauce.
Oh my, yeah. That's a goated answer. I wonder what chat's answer to that will be too. I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of different
if they bother
answers. If they bother, true. Also, I love how Grave really tried to get the last resort, the last laugh out by showing the Yankee stats from their
Dude,
game
I
today.
can't believe we threw it. I can't believe we trolled. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so angry.
You know who's not trolling right now? DarkZero.
Gavin.
Gavin is definitely not trolling. He is
Gavin
here to fucking
15
win.
and 6. Holy crap. This guy's a warlord.
Average crank hater.
Well, SSG, they're on the ropes. Ashen's 3 and 8. That's not great. He was the, I think their highest rated player up until now, I think. Either him or... I think it was him. We got a very extended roam with Forrest alone and Geisha. Fault's kind of soft supporting him from top black. DarkZero start to drone in through the site. They might be able to spot out that there's not a lot of people here. They could just go for a play if they group up.
There's Pamba dead. Maybe the shoes will be filled once again by Gavin this round. As that's your only set of grenades off the board. Logi bomb deployed for Canadian, hoping to maybe just be aware if there's someone close. By Geisha, for example, maybe allowing someone to walk in if they don't hear anything. The drone comes in through. That locates where Forrest is playing. But still, really dangerous game of cat and mouse. Forrest, great weapon kit to play at this position. Fultz finds yet another. Forced back as Gavin just opens up the wall right beside him. But he gets injured. Luckily, though, Canadian's got his fall back, so he's dead, and Rice springs up as well. If Gavin gets picked up, that's a pretty even 3 versus 3 position, and you have a lot of opportunities to make a play with the help of the asphyxiating and smoke bolts. You just have to be wary of where exactly J90 is playing in all this, because the Warden could be a great counter to Rice.
Gavin's still resable, though. I'm willing to bet that this guy's still got 1 or 2 kills in him, even if he's only got 1 HP. Also, did you see how Forrest got away from that? Forrest is built so fucking different from anyone I've ever seen play this game. He is, like... No! Well, wow, he had such a great opportunity there. But he, like, the only word I can describe Forrest's playstyle as is, like, maniacal. Like, what was he doing backing away, ADS'd at the wall, shooting his shotgun? This guy is insane, and it's so funny. Sometimes it works. Right now, it's not. 2v3 as Gavin has now been rezzed, but it's cost a lot of time for DarkZero to be able to do that. J90 is attempting to cut them off from the VIP stairs as in comes Gavin. He'll lose the fight. Ashen gets his own kill in the meantime, and Canadian, he's only 1 HP. Can't chase down J90, and SSG keep themselves alive for at least 1 more round.
Imagine that time crunch really being the final nail in the coffin there for DarkZero on that round. Overtime, potentially 1 round away as well. Got to at least commend so far for SSG, bringing this one close in between against DarkZero, but now it seems like a timeout is being called on the opposing side. That could be a great way to break the momentum here and not allow infinite OT.
If they're not doing a con rotate, bro, you might be able to get that timing.
All right. Yeah. So just calling a timeout. They are extending a lot more than the last 2 rounds. They're just layering back. They don't really want to fight us. They're just trying to kind of crank a little bit on that side of the map, and they're going to back up. They're layering. If you want to hit the Abaru play, I do think we can catch them. But they are kind of like, it looks like they're just playing like 3 on site no matter what, and just 2 extended.
Are they playing on black, Nick?
Yes.
Yes. Smoke.
Yes.
Smoke on black. Do we want to just do like our old ISO? Swap to it.
You don't have a Monty. You're gonna go OSA?
No. Yeah, just do the OSA. We do the nades under. You could, Rob, yeah.
I think we could. Just stay patient because we are getting picks. If we get the defense,
Jay,
do not give them picks.
Are we gonna see the Amaru play? Oh.
That would be a way to either close out Skyscraper or
he was
have
saying
it.
though, if they don't have a connector rotate, the only connector I can think of is like the Geisha split.
Yeah,
but they've had
that's
a
what they
sprint
mean.
rotate every time.
Well, we'll see.
So, was Mint saying like, oh, if they don't have a Geisha rotate, like just fucking Amaru in the window?
Which I mean, yeah, it makes sense because it's going to be really hard for them to get back into sight without that rotate, and you only have like so much to worry about if you already have Toxic Black, which they mention a lot. Going to go for the old strategy, quote unquote, which you would probably imply having a Montaigne. Instead, they'll supplement that with an OSA, and there is no rotate. Oh God.
Wow.
I'm hoping they make that right now. We gotta like
this round.
Everybody.
They're just like, nah, we don't need the rotate.
Yeah, they've only pushed Geisha what every round. Why we need to rotate there? Up now. Thank God for J90.
Oh, but it's not in the window side though. So Pambazoo is probably going to be able to like recover at least a little bit after going through the window before taking any engagements. This is shaping up to be a interesting round.
Ooh, Pamba shotgun. Wait, he doesn't go up the hatch, surely, right?
Up the Geisha hatch? That'd be fucking crazy. Oh, and Gavin's already in. Ashen hits the deck as the Legion. Probably only able to throw out 3 mines, maybe 4. Gavin, with his 16th kill, puts DZ in a position for success with that opening pick. And he's got all of downstairs to play with. He's got those nades from below. You'll be seeing more kills in just a second.
Only a minute burned away. There it is. You mentioned it. Calm before the storm. There's NJR, and it's actually going to be a black walk-up instead for Pamba, destroying that goo mine as quietly as possible. And there is no one here. Not a single soul in either bomb site. They're so worried about this extension across the map that with the info now being gathered by DarkZero, they might just book it. And I can't blame them. That would be the correct call to make when there is literally nothing stopping them besides Canadian having to readjust and get ready to maybe plant from top black.
It could be the perfect opportunity for Pamba to start sending it in without Amaru, but a wider rotate has been opened by J90 now. And DarkZero have turned their attention towards a top black push, of course, thanks to that OSA that Canadian is rocking. This is typically what you see. He'll have those Talon shields set up by top black and be able to cut all these long angles away from the defense. J90 has a long angle of his own, watching that breach all the way from Geisha, and the attack not clearing this, it could end up haunting them should J90 come into play, but he spots the Talon shield, and thus Canadian spots him. More nades are starting to come up. There's Gavin's last one, but into the site the OSA goes. Canadian will set up the shield and soon go for the plant. Gavin with another kill. That's 2 on the board for him as he lurks downstairs. The plant is being completed. Hot and cold as a Rooney. He can't do anything about it. He's able to cut down Rice at the very least. With his players on the window, NJR will make this a 1v4. It's all up to Hot and Cold, and NJR will put him in the dirt. SSG's crew has been lost to DarkZero's Singularity. Gavin with 17 kills and a 2-0 win for DZ.
On their map pick, they look damn near flawless. And on Skyscraper, an incredible timeout to set the precedent that they will not have overtime in this best of 3. What a damn good show by all of DarkZero. Again, that team play really just being the outstanding marker in their games overall, and specifically for that map, Gavin having a heroic showing today. I mean, really not much more you can ask for. Even the adjustment of having Gavin on more of a, entry specific role after how well he was doing on operators like Buck and Dokkaebi, putting him directly on the Iana. He was just in his element today, Harrison. And for, SSG, we talked about how everyone needs to be firing on all cylinders. Of course, DarkZero was the same storyline for them, but they actually showed up today. SSG, not so much really. Again, they didn't look really that well at all on Bank. And then SSG, after the first 2 rounds in the first half, they were completely silent, and it took them a while to kind of, speed things back up after, a timeout by call out going into the second half. It really felt like DarkZero was just in control a majority of these rounds.
Yeah, DZ felt much more like a coherent unit. And of course, we got to give it up to Gavin. 17-7, I believe, finishing the map. Holy shit.
That's crazy.
Huge performance from Gavin. I mean, there's a reason why he was one of the best players in the NAL and will probably continue to do so. So DZ looking like they have a bright future ahead. But that'll do it for John and I. Thank you all for watching. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll go back to the desk.
Thank you very much, dudes. It took a long time after Gamers 8 for this team to figure out exactly what they wanted to do, incorporating a brand new player onto the squad. The tryout process was fruitful. Everything that these guys did from top to bottom seems like it's worked out. And even though it's just an off-season tournament and it's not the North American League, that was the single best result that these guys could have asked for. DarkZero Esports are your breaking point champions. And Laxing, you came in just to see SSG basically get slaughtered at the last hurdle.
I did, and honestly, I chose DZ from the start, so I mean, I'm not really surprised to see at the dominant performance.
Discord logs say otherwise, and so does the stream.
Well, it says edited, and that was because I said Gavini before, and then just switched it to DZ to make it look more professional. So you're bullshitting. But anyways, DZ obviously coming in very strong. I will say, I'm glad to see a little more fight was put up going into the second map. I think for all of us and everyone watching, that's what we want to see, not just a complete landslide. So I was happy to see SSG put, a little more effort into this map, but still overall got to hand it to DZ for closing it out.
Yeah, I think we got to see a little more crank out of SSG in that last map. But overall, DZ just looked so damn good. I loved the way that they played. They were methodical in their play. Gavin was popping off. Pamba was still doing his thing. I like to see the changes from DZ. And overall, I guess the idea that we had seen in Mint's interview a few days ago of DZ being that slow team is kind of gone. And it seems like DZ have remedied those issues and they fixed some of the problems that we saw from them in NAL Stage 1 and in the G8 quals. And they did a great job today. I mean, look at Gavin, a 1.68 rating. Probably the highest rated player in the tournament now after that. I know Pamba was in for the running on that, but I think Gavin now may have just eclipsed that point. Insane stat line.
I mean, Pamba was pulling 22 in a game that had to go to 18 rounds, and Gav's doing what he's doing at 17 kills in just 12. So if there were any doubts in your mind about the idea of Gav getting picked up for DZ, especially seeing how they performed at SI, there's been a lot more time for this team to really iron out everything that wasn't working from before. Gav is an integral part of this roster now. Same thing with NJR, same thing with Pamba, same thing with Troy. And to be able to do this for Rice, how does it feel for a guy like him coming into his first actual streamed professional games with this team, being able to put that kind of performance up, even if it wasn't the greatest thing statistically? It didn't need to be, because I mean, Gabe, correct me if I'm wrong, it felt like he slotted into that leadership position and helped call exactly where he needed to be. They won the tournament as a result of his efforts.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about repetition. So that's the best thing that you can ask for when you're a new player coming into this, is getting the best reps that you possibly can get, especially if he end up being the official fit. Because I don't know, you guys can correct me because I've been a little out of the loop.
They're being a little cagey about it, but basically,
yeah. So if that does end up being the official roster, that's good that he has these reps in with them. He understands what it's like to play against, the semi-professional teams and now the professional teams at that high level. So I think him slotting into where he is, he's been performing extremely well. Maybe in these last games, it wasn't the best performance that he's displayed, but still, again, it goes back into what I was saying. You got a 5-man roster. Everyone can pick up slack where it's needed. And it just goes to show, DZ is still performing at an extremely high level, regardless of Rice being on the roster or not.
Yeah, I loved what we saw from Rice. Although it may have not been the flashiest of performances, I think that the comms, the information that he provided, and honestly, even then, some of the shots he hit on that last map of Skyscraper showed the talent and the capability that Rice has. I imagine that if he does finally secure that spot with DZ, that he will only grow into a very solid professional player under the leadership of that organization. So I'm excited to see what's next for Rice if he does get that spot.
We do have Troy Canadian himself on the line to talk about how everything went down for this series. Dude, first off, congrats. I didn't think it was going to be nearly as quick as it was, but you guys pulled the dub out. Just talk to me. Did you think that this was going to be nearly as easy as it was for you guys? Did you think it would be this quick?
I mean, the way things normally go for us in matches, we tend to make things closer than they have to be, and that kind of showed in our first 2 matches. But yeah, I don't know. We know we're capable of honestly beating any team just like that. And today we were actually closing rounds. Almost all the rounds that we should be closing, we were closing. There was a couple that, you know, didn't really go our way, but for the most part, we were closing the ones that we should, and we were playing really good. So, yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the offseason process for you guys. I know Mint talked a little bit about it in said interview, but you had G8 quals to play in for a little bit. I mean, the back end of GWB, and then had several months of not needing to necessarily do anything. Just talk to me about what you guys were doing in that time period. What was the tryout process like? Because it very clearly looks like it's paying dividends already.
Well, we played the quals with Matt. Matt was still on the team. We played those quals, and then basically we knew either we would not make the event, and then we would have a long break afterwards, or we would make the event, have a short break, play the event, and prep for it, and then have another decent sized break afterwards, and then figure out. We didn't make it, so we just had a really long break, and you know, by the end of it, Matt basically decided he wasn't feeling comfortable playing anymore. And you know, right away there was no one that stood out to us as far as who we want to pick up. Which hasn't been the case before. You know, like when we picked up Gav, right away he was like one of our, like, we knew he was probably our number 1 option. We did some tryouts, but like we knew Gav was probably our number 1 option, and it kind of hit. Same with Matt. It was basically, we knew we wanted to pick up Matt for what we wanted. And so yeah, so we didn't really see anyone that stuck out as far as what we were looking for. So we messed with, you know, a few different types of players, see what we like, see what we don't like, see what we think we're missing. And Jay Rice, I think he kind of really fits what we were looking for. So yeah.
Obviously, it's not the NAL. There's still a lot more important game day reps to be had at this stage. But even in just the course of an off-season tournament, when it is streamed games, how do you think Rice did? Just 3 straight series, 3 dubs, obviously, and you guys didn't drop a map in the process. But just talk to me about how you think he's already integrating into the team so far.
I think he's been doing really well. I think he got in his own head yesterday on bank a little bit. But you know, that happens. I've even been there before. But that's just how it goes. So kind of got that out of the way, but I mean, I think he's been great. I think the biggest thing for him is he knows, you know, the biggest asset for him to our team is his communication, and you know, being able to fill gaps when things are going really fast and getting really hectic. And I think that's something that he's really good at, and that's just kind of what he needs to focus on. And sometimes it's not going to be that flashy. He can be flashy. He's capable of, you know, dropping big numbers, pulling off big plays, but you know, with the players that we have, obviously, you know, resources are going elsewhere. We're setting up different players, and yeah, that's just the way it works. But yeah.
I mean, it's a great thing when you're able to see those things about the player that's just brand new to the team, and you already have an idea about the things you want to work on. So props to you guys for being able to figure that out, and hopefully it just keeps on getting better from here. Last question before I let you guys go. There's now technically a little bit more of an off season at this point. There's still 3 weeks up until we start the NAL for this stage. So what are you guys going to do from this point?
I mean, we're going to keep practicing. Right now I'm in Toronto, so I'm not at the house in Vegas, but I'm going to get back out to the house, get back to Vegas. Jay's going to come out there too, so we'll all be out there. Yeah, gonna prep, gonna grind and get to work, prepare for the season. But yeah, just the usual. But no extra time off. You know, we had such a long break. I think everyone's very hungry and excited. So.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Dude, again, congratulations on the dub. Looks like everything is working like, at least for right now, it's a well-oiled machine. We'll see if that sticks around for when the stage itself starts. But really, really appreciate you guys playing, by the way. Taking the time to be able to do something like this, especially in the middle of what was a very dry off-season. Really appreciate you guys contributing to this. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Thanks for hosting the event. And yeah, we're glad to play in it. A lot of fun. And yeah, take care, guys.
Oh yeah, dude. Yep, we'll see you in September, man. Love to see it. Love to see it. There's not really anything else that I think at this point can be said. We'll take one last look at series stats real fast just to give an overall picture of where this thing ended. I think we still definitely should highlight the reasons for why SSG lost, but I'm far more comfortable with just talking and it's just celebrating the team that pulled the victory out of the bags. 3 consecutive series, none of them needed a map 3. Mason, we didn't get a map 3 this entire goddamn weekend, bro. Like, how did we get to this point?
I don't even know. I can't even believe we didn't get any taste or temptation of map 3. At least a little bit of infinite overtime back in the ATK DZ game. But overall, it showed that these teams are kind of ready to go. SSG, they definitely got some work to go back to the drawing board and write themselves down. Okay, how are we going to get ourselves in contention and back in Pro League form when when Pro League comes around in the next few weeks? But look at Gavin, almost a 3 KD, 29 and 10. I mean, that is an insane series. That is nuts, especially against what everyone thought SSG was going to be the best team in this tournament, and we had all kind of been playing and portraying that SSG was the best team coming in, and then Gav comes in and he smacks his dick on the table, man. Like, he just showed
the
SSG.
Girthquake.
Exactly. Laxkin put it better.
I mean, I've had to display the Girthquake, and Gavini today just lay down it,
There's not really anything else I think needs to be said at this point. DZ did the thing. Gavin fucking slapped him, and I think it's really good, especially for a player like him, after how SI went, after maybe hoping he could have done a little bit better in the NAL, especially when you go out early in Copenhagen, everyone on that team probably starts thinking, oh, what was I the problem? Could I have done more in a situation like that, especially when you go out earlier than anticipated? I think for everybody, this has to be a really big sigh of relief, and I think nobody is happier about this than Mint and the guys on DZ who decided to bring Rice into the picture, because very clearly it looks as though there is something very, very good working there. Congratulations again to DarkZero, champions of Breaking Point. Before we sign off and everything, Mason, talk to me about how your experience was jumping back on an analyst desk, but this time not on a tier 3 level.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun. It was fun to be on like a newer desk, work with you, Jacob, because you and I have avoided doing that for forever. For whatever
on purpose.
reason.
I hate you.
It was also, yeah, I hate you too. I hate you. It was also fun getting to work with Skies and Laxing. I've worked with Yeti before at SFCL, so that was fun to see that, and then to see how the different players just have different mindsets for what life is as a pro and stuff. So it's cool to be able to bring the numbers side of things and then also hear the pro analytics as well. And it's nice to see when it all lines up and matches itself, that it makes a really good show. So I had a lot of fun, and thanks for bringing me on.
Yeah, thanks a lot for jumping in on this, dude. I really appreciate it. Lax, any final words before we let you go on this one? Thank you as well for jumping in on the very last day when Skies couldn't make it. Your insight was great.
I appreciate you bringing me on, and obviously Klimps again, like, it was nice working with you. Obviously I'm learning things from you guys. This is your guys' home, this is your guys' territory. Like, I was on the field before, now I'm the one learning from you guys, so it is always very interesting to get that different perspective of the 2 worlds, and see like you guys and your craft, feed off of you guys and watch what you guys do. So it's always, this is a blast for me to be learning something new, working along you guys, and it's just a fun experience overall. And I'm just happy that you reached out to me when you did. I didn't, you shit on me in the beginning of this, talking about the Parabellum shit. That's what forced me to retirement. Actually, that's what I left out. Like, no, I'm just fucking around. But no, I am super glad that you did bring me on, and it's fun to do this stuff. So again, thank you so much for bringing me on and working with you guys.
Yeah, of course, dude. I certainly hope that it's not the last time we get the chance to do it. Maybe it's in a more official capacity at some point down the road. If anyone from Blast is listening, should probably get the guys in at some point. That'd be really cool. But yeah, really appreciate the 2 of you for being here.
Please, and, Blast, no.
just
please.
From my own final send-off here, the swan song of Breaking Point. So I didn't think this was going to be as I don't want to call this easy because there's a lot of reasons for this to fly completely off the rails, but we had this idea. I came up with it, sat on it for a couple of days. I hit up Zay, our producer, who's also gone insane by producing this, by the way, both because of what he's produced and then also mentally. He's probably not entirely there anymore after this. But being able to work with a couple of guys very closely on the product, go through the branding, talk to the logo people, try and find a way to concoct the whole style for this thing, and then hit up the talent, find the right staff for it, and then getting the teams involved. That was the big thing. We weren't going to do this thing if we didn't have, I mean, I hit every NAL team up at some point, but then a couple of them backed out because it's summer vacation. I totally understand it, but for what we got and the product that we had, at least for like first time doing a tournament, blew my expectations out of the water. And the viewership and what you guys were saying about all of the tournament, whether it's in Discord, on Twitter, on Reddit, I see all of it, and I appreciate you guys. So thank you for being here. Thank you for contributing if you did, from staff to talent to the two of you, to everybody watching. Thank you very much for watching Breaking Point. And the next time you're going to see any of us is probably when the NAL and the rest of Blast Regional Leagues begin in just a couple of weeks' time. For now, thank you. We'll see you later. Good night.
Thank you.